Welcome to episode 58 of the Wilderness Podcast, your old school RuneScape podcast every week. Made by casuals, done for casuals. I'm your host, Dilz, and with me, as always, is Deagin.
You call me a casual?
Sorry, man, I didn't mean no offense by it.
Well, I mean, I haven't really played that much the past 2 weeks, but whatever.
It's supposed to be our shtick.
Yeah, I guess so. All right, we'll go with it. We'll go with it for now. Hey guys, how's it going?
How's it going with you?
Pretty decent. Got some good news, got some bad news.
Okay, what do you want to start with then? Let's hear it.
So the bad news is I didn't play that much RuneScape recently.
Okay, that sounds about on par for the course.
Yeah, but we're changing that up. We got some shit going. Okay, so non-RuneScape related, just to keep this going on a little bit longer. I been playing like a vanilla WoW server for a little bit. Vanilla WoW private server.
Oh, why? The official servers are coming out. Why are you jumping onto the private servers?
One, it's to kind of like figure out what I would want to do on a private server.
Okay.
Two, it's probably going to be like a year this time when they come out. Because the way Blizzard works right now, it's like around January is like a really big lull in the expansion. Like between now and January, there's when new raids come out, everyone subs, and then after like 2 months when everyone's like done the content, everyone quits. So I think in August, I'm gonna guess August, September, the new expansion will come out, and then during this time, everyone will be done with like the first raid or whatever that's out. Everyone will be bored. They release vanilla, everyone resubs. You know what I mean? It's their way to turn like a slow month into like the most profitable month they've ever had, pretty much. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So that's my theory. It's super fun. It's just really fun. Me and my buddy are having a great time. Like we're leveling together and stuff.
All right,
cool.
It's
just so much fun. But yeah, you guys don't give a shit about that. So RuneScape related. I've barely played since the Gargoyle boss came out. As in the day of, I had the boss as a task, or I had Gargoyles as a task. Got the key, and I mentioned before, I'm like, currently I'm waiting to do the boss. I'm just sitting outside the thing.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
But so yesterday, I guess, day before of recording, or I guess a couple days before, my buddy, who's like in the CC, but like a good friend of mine, was like wanting me to come do Bandos with him. He was doing Bandos with you, I think.
Yeah. I was. I've done Bandos a few times with some guys in there.
Yeah. So he was telling me, he's doing some Bandos with you, and he's like, "Yo, let's do some. Your brother's doing it with us. Like, you should at least start trying to do some Bandos with us or something. Come on, stop being a little pussy." I'm like, all right.
It's a lot of fun too.
Yeah, it's pretty good. So I left. I never even did a Gargoyle boss kill. I just fucking TP'd out. And
Dunskies there.
Yeah, got all my shit for Bandos. We did a couple trips and didn't get anything. But
yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, we played with I was playing with some inventory setups. Like I had done Bandos in the past with Melee Void just for that sweet damage boost, but it's really bad. Never do. I highly recommend you don't do that because Bandos has super high defense. And there's a point to all this, don't worry. He's got super high slash defense, and just defense in general, and you use slash against him. So you want to use things like the warrior ring, and like a warrior helmet, or the penance fighter helmet, like anything that gives you, slash, like, attack accuracy, because he's got really high defense.
So you want to use those over the berserker ring, or the berserker helmet?
Yeah. I mean, you can use the berserker.
I've been going strength bonus.
Yeah, strength bonus is nice, but you want to hit. Like, the issue isn't how hard you want to hit. It's like you actually just want to hit the fucking boss. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
okay.
There'll be kills where you do 30 damage when you're in a group because like you just can't hit them. Right? Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I can kind of see it.
Yeah. It happens. It's whatever. So, anyways, we did a couple trips, and I have a Dragon Warhammer, and my buddy has the Bandos God Sword, and We'll talk about it a little bit more in detail, but they just came out with a buff this week where it's only a 50% special attack now.
Yeah, we have talked about that in the past, but
Yeah,
finally
so
it kind of went through.
The big thing that made the Dragon Warhammer so good was that it was 50% and the Bandos Godsword used to be 65%. That's what made the one of the many good things about the Dragon Warhammer good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, anyways, we're doing the boss and shit, and he, like, is consistently hitting with his Bandos. He would spec because he was tanking, and so he would get some damage out with the Godsword spec, and then I'd come with my Dragon Warhammer, and I wouldn't hit it. Out of, like, the fucking 35 specs I used, I probably hit 5. Like, I was not hitting ever with the Dragon Warhammer, and I was getting, like, fucking a little bit too pissy. Like, I was getting, like, I was becoming, like, a little bit of a whiny bitch. Like, spent fucking 62 mil on a spec weapon and it doesn't even work. This is bullshit. I only bought this for raids and for Bandos, and it doesn't even work at Bandos that well. Now that the new Godsword buff, like, I mean, the Godsword uses slash, right? That's why he's hitting a lot more often than I am.
That's what I was going to ask. Is it because he has a very high crush defense or something?
Most likely, yeah. But slash is the way to go. But even when he would hit the spec and drop his defense, right, I still couldn't hit. It was fucking annoying. But it was so annoying. He'd hit like a 62, and if I was lucky, I'd hit like a 4. You know what I mean? Usually it was a 0 though. But anyways,
Dragon Warhammer, does that scale off the damage that you're hitting with it, like the special?
I don't know 100%, but the way the Dragon Warhammer works is that, like, here, let me just double check. But the special itself is better in terms of it lowers the defense by 30%. So the current defense is like, you got 100, you know, I hit you with it, and it'll drop like by 30, right?
Yeah.
It works on like a flat, this is whatever his defense is, it works on that current defense. So you get diminishing returns if you're stacking, like specs, like, you know, after every spec, you're getting less out of it, obviously. And with the Bandos Godsword, it drains a flat percentage, so it will do 30 defense and 20 strength levels when you hit with it.
Okay.
So obviously, you know, if it's got over 100 defense, you want to hit it with the Dragon Warhammer. Or if it's over 100, you hit it with the Dragon Warhammer. And if it's at, you know, 100, obviously, whatever's got a worse defense to. But, yeah, anyways, I got really annoyed with it, and I was like, man, I'm gonna sell it. I'm just gonna sell this fucking Dragon Warhammer. Like, I have like 5 mil in the bank. I don't have primordials anymore, and I kind of want them. Like, I want to just get rid of it, and I'm pissed off with it. But me and him have like an ongoing joke. Well, he might be joking, but I'm kind of serious. And that's, if we ever get a big drop at a boss, we're just gonna go stake it.
Yeah.
And we've, like, me and him realized, like, last night we've never gotten a big drop. Our best drop was like a 1 mil Sarah sword. That's it. Out of like the hundreds and hundreds of bosses we killed together. Actually, no, that's a lie. That's a lie. One of our first kills ever was a dragon pickaxe at KBD. It was like one of our very first kills we ever did, like, together when we were bossing. But other than that, like, nothing, right?
Yeah.
And so we're kind of just like joking about that, but I'm kind of being serious. But I was like, you know what, man? Yeah, I'm gonna go sell this, fuck it. And then I just had that, like, holy shit, dude, I could stake it. I could just stake my Dragon Warhammer, fuck it. I don't even use it. I don't even like this goddamn weapon. I have enough money to buy a BGS.
Staking's always a possibility.
I'm like, I could stake it, and I'm like, at the time where I'm just like, we're at Bandos and we're talking about it, or I'm talking about it, I'm like, it would suck to lose a Dragon Warhammer, but it doesn't take that much away from my account. Because over the past couple months, or past month or two, it's just, I have 62 mil sitting in a spec weapon I use like 4 times a month. You know what I mean?
Okay,
like, I'm never using it. Like, I bring it to raids, but we haven't raided that much because he's had some things going on. He's been busy. And then, like, for Bandos, I literally had it just for those 2. I don't do Corp. I should, but I don't. And, yeah, so then I kind of, like, really wanted to stake it. I was like, holy fuck, dude. I think I'm gonna go stake it. And he's like, oh shit, dude. So I went and sold it, and went down to the duel arena. And I here's the thing, I have I allegedly have given other people money to do 0% commission staking. Allegedly.
Yeah,
I've done it.
I've heard that was a thing in the past.
I have done it a lot, allegedly. Just what people have said, what I've heard is that apparently I've done it quite a bit in the past. But I've never actually staked on my account. And the one thing that, like, I just, I don't have the presets or anything, so he went and hooked me up with the presets and told me about a bunch of common scams, which there's like 50 fucking common scams. People wearing Guffin chain bodies because they look like a shirt. People bringing a Hasta.
Wow.
People bringing, like, magic. They'll have, like, a rune pouch with, like, blood barrage or something in it. And they, like...
Now, is the Hasta part even a scam? Because that's something you just switch to because it gives you defense bonuses,
Oh, yeah.
right?
It's totally a scam. The Hasta scam is... So the way dueling works is if you're doing, like, typical whip or whatever, at the start of the fight, you spam, and then, somebody has PID, so somebody's damage will... go in first, but then somebody will give gap, which means, like, I'll wait half a second, I'll let you hit me, and then I'll hit you. And so it's not like we're both attacking at the same time. That's generally just how duelers and stakers do it, because you can flick to, like, your defensive stance, and I don't even know if that does anything.
Yeah.
I didn't do it, though.
The defensive stance gives you a hidden 3, like, a level 3 level bonus.
Oh, does
I
it?
should say. So if you're fighting with your attack style, you get 3+ attack. It's hidden, so you can't see it. If you're uncontrolled, all your stats get 1+. And if it's defense, you get 3+ for your defense. Get what I'm saying?
Okay, I didn't know that. I always thought it was just like a myth that it actually helped.
It could be a myth. Like, it's how do you really confirm that, right?
Yeah, I didn't look into it. I haven't looked into, like, if Mod Ash or anybody has said anything. But the whole thing with the Hasta scam is when they hit you, you swapped your Hasta before they hit you, and then you swapped your whip and you hit them, and the Hasta gives you defensive stats, so it gives you a pretty big advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyways, so I, like, brought my money, was, like, looking for a duel, and found some dude, and he would only do 45 mil. Well, not only, but he didn't want to do, like, the whole 60.
Yep.
And so, like, I go to stake him, I set up everything, and I'm, like, spamming my presets because I know they're legit. And I'm, like, really, like, I sat there for, like, 30 or 40 seconds, like, making sure he's not scamming me. Click accept, go to the second screen, go over everything. And I'm like, honestly, if he's gonna scam me, there's no way I'll actually know, because this is, like, so foreign to me. And I just, like, you know what, fuck it. I don't give a shit. Like, I really wanted to just pussy out and not do it, but, like, my buddy was there to watch. Like, he came to watch, and I don't want to, like, waste 10 minutes of his time.
you got an audience at this point, some fans.
He came for some moral support, to throw some Rotten Tomatoes at him, And, geez, man, I'm getting, like, nervous just talking about it, because it's, like, it's very recent. It's happened yesterday. So,
starting to get some flashbacks, got a little PTSD.
Yeah. So we go in, I'm, like, spam clicking them, I got the flick, or whatever, the accurate whip style lash, not lash, I don't know what it is, whatever the fucking accurate one is. Spam click, I get PID, so he gives me, like, gap. And I just, like, took my hand off the mouse. I'm like, I'm not fucking with that defensive switch shit. And I just, like, sit there and watch it. And the dude just fucking, it was going pretty even until, like, 50%. And then he just, like, wrecks me. He gets me down to, like, 20 health. And I'm like, to my buddy on Discord, like, dude, this is it, man. This is it. I lost. And, like, the whole time I'm like, Derek, Deagin, you fucking idiot. God damn it. Why are you doing this? You really can't, like, you can't afford to lose 45 mil. I don't know why you tricked yourself thinking you could lose 60 mil. You don't have that much money.
Yeah.
This is, like, you're an idiot. God damn it. I was like, oh, fuck, this is over. And he, like, gets me down to 12 health, hits me to 10, and then I start hitting him back, and I end up tanking on 10 HP, and I finish him off.
No.
Yeah, dude. So, like, I had 20 HP, he, like, hits me for, like, a 0, hits me for, like, an 8, hits me for a 2 and a 0, and that whole time I'm, like, coming back in the duel. And then, like, I end up beating him, and I just, like, it was probably, like, 9 o'clock at night, but I just, like, started screaming, like, oh, yeah! Like, I got so hyped. I was like, oh, fuck yeah, boys. Oh, shit, we did it. Make bonk loot my bloody hell. Like, all that stuff. Whatever Torvesta and friends say. But, Started getting like really hyped, start yelling, start jumping around my room, like, holy shit, I did it. 45 mil in the bank. And then I doubled down and lost.
Damn.
No, I didn't do
I was
that.
gonna say, oh, now I can stake 90 mil.
But, dude, I was like, I had that little whisper, just do it. Just do another 45 mil. And I'm like, no. I really wanted to, but it's like,
yeah.
At this point, I realized I couldn't afford to lose it. And then if I had lost it, I would have already experienced, I'm not going to lose twice in a row. Come on, it's a 50-50. And I probably would have gone
Sure.
broke. But I was like, I know how that's going to play out. I've played Stardew Valley doing the summertime wheel shit, getting that 2,000 points. That took me like 2 hours to do. Kept losing.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh, there's like a gambling. There's pretty much a sand casino within Stardew Valley where you do 50-50s to gamble points for this summer event.
Sure.
Never mind, it's irrelevant. If you've played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. But yeah, so I ended up winning and super excited. I was glowing. I was glowing for like an hour afterwards. It was like, oh
yeah,
man.
that's legit. That's super lucky. It sounds like one of those things where like, yeah, you put the money up and you accept the stake. Then as soon as the other guy accepts it, you go, oh, fuck, I can't believe I've done this.
Yeah.
I've made a huge mistake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's exactly like what happened. I was like, that moment I realized how stupid this is. Like how dumb. Like why would I think this is okay? Oh my god, I'm gonna lose. He's beating me. And then I won and like, so, I mean, there's probably some asshole out there being like, it's only 45 mil, Deagin. Oh, I have 400 mil in the bank. Like, it's a lot of money to get for me. Especially so quickly.
Yeah, and there's people like me sitting there being like, you would risk 45 mil? You know how fucking long it took me to save up for a Sarah Godsword?
Dude, and that's the thing. It's like, it took me so long to get that much money, and then I pretty much got just a Sarah Godsword within 2 minutes. I got 45 mil, and like, I went to the jeweler and I found a stake, got 45 mil, and walked out.
Yeah. I mean,
which is super.
Just so I can dissuade anyone else from doing what you did. At the same time, you could have lost it all just as fast.
So this is
it's like you have no control over it.
So this is what would have happened. I would have lost the 45 mil. I would have staked the rest of whatever 17 mil for my Dragon Warhammer. The rest of the money left over. I would have lost that. Been super pissed off and logged off, and I probably wouldn't log on at all this week. Like I would take here's another month of Deagin not playing RS again because he's a fucking idiot and he staked money, and like as soon as I started that stake, I knew like this is exactly how it's gonna go. Like I'm such an idiot. Why would I do this? This is so careless.
Yeah,
and because if I lost 45 mil,
the Duel Arena is a weird place,
dude. It's super weird. It's like the most profitable or the biggest reason to quit RuneScape ever. Like it's kind of like a really toxic place to have in the game. You know what I mean? Super bad with all the constant scamming that goes down there. Well, before I got into a duel, my buddy, the guy that watched me, watched somebody get scammed. He watched some dude swap out a thing and started blood barraging him. And the dude lost, I don't know how much money, but probably more than 10 mil.
Yep, there's a few scams because the thing is like, so when you're talking about your presets, if you've never been there before, there's a bunch of options in the game. Like you can click no range, you can click no movement, no mage. There's a bunch of things you can cancel out. So it's just
there's
like
too many options.
Specifics.
That's the issue. There's like no drinks, no potions, no food, no prayer. You know what I mean? Like no select your pieces of armors, no weapon swapping, no specials. Like
fun weapons.
Yeah.
And then you have your equipment menu, which is like you can cancel what pieces of armor you can actually wear. Now, a lot of scams that happen, well, I don't know if it's a lot, but there are some scams, because I've been scammed this way as well, is that they'll just switch one of the options on you. They'll maybe put no melee and open up magic only.
Yeah.
And when you're staking a lot, or if you're not too familiar with it, it's pretty easy to overlook and not notice that little switch that went on.
Yeah.
And I know back in the day, I've staked a few times, and whenever I did it, I'd bring like 300k, and I'd say, this is it. I'm not using anything more than this, and whatever I make is great. And it happens every time. I can get up to like 2 or 3 mil, and then I lose it all because I just keep them going. And yeah, I got scammed once because I put up, let's say, 100K, and then the guy put up 1 mil. And then he accepted it, and he had all his... So the presets is basically you can save it so that you can push one button, and all the rules that you want get automatically shut off.
Yeah.
Or put on, right? So a lot of people will put that on so you don't have to worry about missing one or noticing one differently. And yeah, so I did the presets. I clicked the preset button, and then he puts up the 1 mil, and then he puts up I put up 100K, and he accepts it. And I go, I know this is a scam because no one's going to stake more than what you're putting up.
Yep.
But I looked all over the presets. I looked up the rules, and I didn't see any of them that got switched. So I click accept, and then I look on the next screen to see if he did a quick one, pulled a quick one on me and swapped it out right at the last moment. And I looked through it, and then the second option gets a bit confusing. I haven't been there in a while, so I don't know if they've updated it. But before, it was literally just a list of
Yeah, that's how it is.
No melee, no this, no that, no this, no... And it's just like, you can look at it, but it doesn't tell you what rules are switched off. You know what I mean? So like if somebody puts on food, it won't say there food is available. It would just say no. If the rule was on to have no food, it would just say no food. So it's like you have to have it memorized. Mm-hmm. And anyways, I knew I was going to get scammed because I was like, there's no way this is going to happen. But I'm almost certain he didn't switch a rule on me. So let me see how he does it. And boom, he must have switched it to no melee and put on magic. And yeah, he blood barraged me. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I don't know how that happened, but
it's only 100K, but it's a good lesson. Yeah.
I wanted to see how this game was going to work, and it was pretty, like, it wasn't anything super crazy. It was like a very obvious one, so it was my mistake, and I was like, fuck. Another scam that I do see, I don't really know exactly how this goes on, so I might be wrong if any of you guys out there are familiar with it, but it involves two people, as many scams and lures do. And you have one guy who's going to be staking, let's say 10 mil, and you stake 1 mil. And he puts it to, I believe it's ranged only. What happens is his friend will message you and say, hey, this guy's going to swap it to like ranged only. So I'm going to help you anti-scam. And here's a maple bow or willow bow. They give you a kind of a lower level bow.
Yeah, so like, yeah, you
explain it, because you might know it better than I do. I know it like secondhand.
Yeah, and I know because I was fucking with these guys for a while.
Okay, let's hear it.
So what happens is when you enter the duel arena, like if you're walking from the entrance on World 2, you'll see people doing, whatever, ridiculous X rates. So 1 mil for 10 mil. We'll do like a range thing. I'll give you a maple bow and rune arrows, and we'll have a duel. Like here, look, I'm equipping a maple bow too, right? Mm-hmm. And so the whole thing is they give you a bunch of runes or a bunch of rune arrows and a maple bow, and then you just you duel them. But the thing is, you can't equip a rune arrow with a maple bow. Yeah,
the highest you can use is adamant.
Yeah, so people, it's like there'll be someone, he goes, dude, it's a scam. I'm gonna give you some addy arrows. And like, cause he can't use rune arrows, like he's an idiot. Like you bring addy arrows, he's trying to scam you. And the thing is, they're like level 30 and shit when these guys like really low levels, right?
Yeah.
And so you got 30, 40 range levels on him or something, like you're gonna beat him. Even if it was just straight up both you guys using addy maple bows, right?
Yep.
Addy arrows, maple bows. And so like that's the whole thing is like, that's quote unquote the first step of the scam is that you realize you can't use rune arrows and you're going to try and outsmart him by bringing addy arrows.
Yeah, and you got that guy there who's like there to help you with it.
Yeah. And so what happens is you go get addy arrows and you go to stake them, but he turns off the arrow part in the inventory, so you can't actually equip your arrows.
Right.
And then he just uses darts or knives on you and kills you.
Yeah, and that's usually an oversight from you, yeah.
Yeah, that's the whole thing is like, that's the whole thing with like a lot of the scams is like the most obvious scams, there's a second part to it.
If you have someone on the other side of it being like, hey, this is an anti-scam, I'm going to help you scam him back, and then we can splits, or whatever it is. You know that it's his friend, and they're both scamming you.
Yeah. Yeah, there's another one that's really popular, I'll just say it quickly. It's like at Corp, where somebody will bring you into an instance area, and say, drop your items, and I'll trade you this. And then a guy will say, dude, he's scamming you. What you do is, say you drop your items, he's going to stall for like 30 seconds. As soon as he goes to trade you, then you quickly drop and trade him. And the whole thing is that he's going to trade it to you and then pick up or like someone will come pick up your items while you're waiting.
Mm-hmm.
But the whole thing is you drop your items and they just kick you from the clan, and since
Yeah.
it's an instance area and corp, you lose it.
True.
Like a lot of random shit like that. But they're really easy to catch, especially if someone wants to quote unquote help you for no reason. So yeah, there's a couple like really silly ways you can scam people, but
If it seems too good to be true, it almost always is.
yeah, exactly.
If you got some guy messaging you being like, hey, you want some free money, da-da-da-da-da, it's probably... It's a scam. Let's just go with
Yeah.
that. It's 100% a scam.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways, I didn't get scammed, thankfully, but yeah. So I end up getting the money, and, I mean, it could have been really shitty. It could have been fucking awful, but instead it's, like, amazing. So, I mean, really good spot with my account, very happy. And so I was, like, trying to figure out what to do, and I could get, like, 99 prayer, and I have, like, 15 mil left over. I could, do, like, 99 range and mage and get, like, 85 to 90 prayer. I could get like all my shit from my player owned house, you know what I mean? There's
Yep.
so many things that opened up from winning that stake. Actually ridiculous.
But anyone out there who's getting that duel arena itch, don't do it.
Don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Coming from someone who like did like a one-time chuck, and it worked out for me, I'm saying don't do it, because if like before I started the stake, I'm gonna win. Like, not I'm gonna win, but like thinking, oh, it's gonna be so nice if I win, and it's not that big of a deal if I lose. But the second like I started losing that stake, and I'm like, it's over. I like got so upset. I was getting so. My buddy's like, no, dude, it's not over. It's not. And I was like, man, it's fucking over. I'm such an idiot. Oh my, you know, like it. All the negative emotions were coming out, but I ended up turning it around.
Cancel your membership mid-fight.
Yeah, pretty much. Like, dude, like the duel arena, like it takes lives, man. Because so winning like a stake like that, I had like such a rush of adrenaline, and it felt like so good. Like I had so much joy, and then like 5 minutes afterwards, I just felt sick because I had so much adrenaline in me. Like I actually was like, oh god, I should have like started like doing push-ups or something. Like I like had nowhere to put the energy, and I just started feeling sick. I'm like, oh, I can't believe I did that. Oh god. And I just sat at the GE for a while with my cash stacks, like just like feeling sick. But you know,
have like a serotonin dump. Dump. Sorry,
Yeah.
I can't even fucking talk.
yeah, all the fucking endorphins and everything going off. But I you know, first time I ever broke over 100 mil cash stack without having an empty bank.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. And
And I also just want to mention, just last thing about going to like the stake, like trying to dissuade people from the duel arena. As many doors that get opened from winning, if you lost it, so many more doors would have closed.
yeah, like,
You know what I mean?
like a third of my Dragon Warhammer came from a drop at Cerberus. You know what I mean? And like that took me like 500 kills, which was
Yeah.
days, and like so much time would have been lost. I would have like, all right, I'm just gonna slay, you know, take a week or two break, longer break. I'm just gonna slay and just get my money back, and then buy Dragon Warhammer again. And that would have been like a long time. Like my buddy lost like 100 and something mil at the duel arena, and it took him like, he had a way bigger bank than me, and he lost like a Sarah Godsword, like he lost like a lot of stuff at the like our duel arena, and then we pretty much had the same bank. You know what I mean? Like I was able to, like, he had like a
Yeah.
lot of levels on me, and the whole time it took me to get all my items for the first time, he was getting it all for the second time with like a way higher Slayer level and shit like that.
And I've also heard stories from people who win like 3 bill. Like they go hard at the duel arena and kind of do what you do, but then they just keep going with it and they end up winning a lot.
Yeah.
They can buy anything they want from the game. And then I've seen like someone write on the subreddit being like, don't do it because it killed the grind for me.
Yeah.
Nothing is fun in RuneScape anymore because one, like, you get such an adrenaline rush from staking that like, and you're not doing anything. You just sit there and click and then you watch and hope for the best. And on top of that, like, you don't have to work for anything anymore. And like, I know we've talked about this before on the podcast, but RuneScape is definitely a game where it's about the journey and not the destination.
I mean, the destination is a huge payoff, though. As in, like, setting a goal and reaching that goal is amazing, but then the second you have no reason to set goals and you just sit there and flip a coin over and over again, like, the game's ruined. Yeah, like, a lot of people, like, if you're going hard at the dueling arena, there's literally two outcomes. One, your bank will literally be just a whip. Like, you'll sell everything and you'll have just a whip. You look at anyone who streams on RuneScape and just stakes, like, all they do is stake. They have, like, a whip with, like, junk items and quest items. Like, they...
Yeah.
Like they have nothing. And,
yeah, I feel like it's the equivalent to, like, though, like, let's say you stake, you get 100 mil, and then you can buy some item. Like, the feeling from getting that item would be kind of the same if you bought, like, a bunch of bonds with real-life money and used that to buy an item. You'd be like, oh, cool, I have this item, but... Okay, now what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the dueling arena, it's either you're left with an empty bank and you quit, or just start an Iron Man, or you have so much money that you max your account, and it's like, why would I want to go boss? I have max, like, I have every item I want, like, you know what I mean? I made 3 bill from the duel arena. Why would I do hundreds of raids to get a twisted bow that's worth 1 bill? In, like, a fraction of the time, I made 3 times the amount, and then, or you literally have nothing and you quit. Like, either outcome is really bad, but, and then that's like one thing that made me not keep going back, because it's like, 45 mil is enough for it to open up a lot of options. So I can, like, what I settled on is I'm going to get 94 magic and then figure it out, because, like, I want to get 99 prayer because that'd be nice to have. But then I have a bone crusher that I always bring with Slayer. And so it's a lot of wasted prayer experience. I do I haven't really done it, but there's a daily, at, Port Phasmatis, that you give 26 bones and you get, like, bone meal, and that's really good prayer experience. Cause it's better than the double lit altar and shit like that as well. Yeah, and so I, like, you know, I don't have to do it daily, but potentially I'm wasting a lot of prayer experience that I could be getting essentially for free. So a lot of wasted money, and it's not efficient macro wise. So maybe I won't get 99 prayer. I'm not doing 99 range because right now I'm just going to slay for all my range experience. Like, I'll do gargoyles with a blowpipe now and stuff like that.
Plus, with the cannon that you use for so many tasks, becomes kind of like wasted experience.
Yeah, it's wasted experience, and at the end of the day, it would be amazing if I could finish my last 99 with 99 Slayer at the exact same moment, right? Like, ideally, it's not going to happen, but yeah, I don't want to, like, waste experience, I guess, if that makes sense. But with 94 magic, I can still elk, and there's a lot of experience I can get through elking, but that also opens up, like, ice barraging and vengeance, and I can start, like, actually PKing. And so when somebody...
Oh, yeah, you need vengeance for Edgeville.
Yeah, and so when somebody, like, submits a question or just asks me about PKing, I can actually be like, well, and this is my actual experience, you know what I mean? Instead of, like... I PK'd a bit, but, like, I'm not, like, a seasoned PKer. Like, I'm not good in terms of... I can kill people, but, like... I definitely can't tri-brid. You know, there's so much, like, in terms of the PKing world, I'm really bad at, but with 94 magic, that literally opens up, like, I can start PKing now and get good at it, and, like, if I'm bored of slaying and doing bosses like I kind of am, now I can just go PK. I'll lose, like, a mil, but, like, I'll have fun, you know? And then once I'm low on money, I'll want to start bossing and get that, and slay and get that money back, like... Yeah, so there's a lot of things I can now do. Like, I might finish my player-owned house and get, like, a pool and all that stuff. The fairy ring.
Oh yeah,
I could even, like, power level my smithing, because I was doing that, like, a month ago and I completely forgot. I have, like, 15 mil worth of ores and bars in my bank. I gotta, like, get rid of. Like, yeah, it's really weird though. I have, like, so many options now. The game's opened up for me, and yeah, so, like, now I've started bursting monkeys, so I'm gonna go for that 94 magic.
Okay,
I'm in I haven't even got a level yet. Like, that's how recent all this was. I'm at 80. I'm almost 88 magic right now.
It's pretty good.
Yeah. So hopefully by next week I'll have that, and then I'll figure out the next step. But yeah, I don't know, pretty cool. Non-eventful, but kind of eventful. I didn't play that much, but a lot of shit went down in that short amount of time.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, what'd you do this week?
Let's see. Yeah, so last week, so we recorded at a weird time just because I got back from Montreal and I was staying in an Airbnb basement, so my timeline's getting kind of messed up. It's hard to remember exactly what I've done since then, but
Yeah.
just quickly mentioned, since my last Airbnb apartment, I've had to move to another Airbnb apartment, so kind of each week I'm in a new location. It's kind of fun, kind of sucks ass because I hate moving. If I'm sure you're familiar with moving and how much of a pain it is to pack everything up,
Yeah.
move to a new location, unpack it. Luckily, it's not too much things. I'm kind of living out of bags and stuff like that, but I got my computer and all that shit that I got to pack up every time and throw it in my car, then drive to the next location after work and dump all my shit to the new place and have to set it up. And hopefully they got tables for me to set up because last Airbnb apartment I was on TV trays that I had to go pick up from Walmart.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like really shitty, and I was like scared the whole time that like someone would bang the TV tray and like my computer would just like my monitor would fall or something, and come home from work and my computer's just all smashed up or some shit. So yeah, I'm in this new apartment now. If things get a little janky on the podcast, not only am I having to deal with people upstairs and stuff like that, but also the last apartment I had pretty good internet connection. I think I had my own internet connection for the downstairs. This apartment, I'm pretty sure I'm on a shared Wi-Fi. So last night I was trying to play RuneScape and I could barely do anything. I was getting so mad. Like, my internet connection was complete trash.
Yeah.
And even like now we were talking on Discord and stuff, and I randomly got a lag spike. Like this morning it was fine. I was able to play it and I had no problems. But then randomly while we were talking, I started like lagging hardcore. You started cutting out. So right now, as we're currently recording, I'm running on my phone. I'm using my phone as a hotspot, which is, it's sad, I think, if that's the best internet connection you can get is from your phone. But hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Luckily, RuneScape doesn't take up too much bandwidth. Because I remember when I moved into my house last year, we didn't have internet for a week or two, and I was just using my phone hotspot, and I think I used like 3 gigabytes by the end of the week, and I was playing a lot of RuneScape.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really, I expected a lot more. And if anyone out there is from Canada, you'll understand that our phone plans are horrible. They're like third world rates. Yeah, it's terrible. But yep. So I'm dealing with that a bit. So I needed to mention that. But yeah, besides that, so I had to move out of the last apartment a couple days ago. So I had some RuneScape time in between then with a good internet connection. Like you mentioned, I did some bandos with some people from our clan chat. That was pretty fun. And didn't make no big drops. Didn't make too much money.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, in between then, I think I was just doing Slayer as normal, killing some Abyssal Sire and stuff like that. I got some decent drops. I got an Unsired again, which is my second one. I'm pretty sure I mentioned it the first time, and I got an Abyssal Dagger the first time. Did I mention that?
You got an Abyssal Dagger from Sire?
Yeah, okay, so maybe I didn't mention that. You have like a 1 out of like 100 drop rate to get this thing called an Unsired. And then with that Unsired, you go and you use it on this NPC basically. And then it gives you a chance of getting an Abyssal Whip, an Abyssal Dagger, one of the 3 pieces for an Abyssal Bludgeon. You need 3 pieces to create that. You can get the pet. You can get an Abyssal Demon Head. Or you can get the Abyssal Demon Jar. I don't remember what it's called exactly, but each boss drops like this jar, which you can use for your player-owned house.
Yeah.
And it gives you like a cosmetic-looking boss in your house. So yeah, those are the things you can get from the Unsired, and yeah, so as you can see, you can get like, a whip, which is worth 1.8 mil or so. You can get the dagger, which is like 6 mil, or you can get one of the Abyssal Bludgeon pieces, and each of those would basically be about 10 mil, I think, because I don't think they're tradable.
No, but yeah.
If you get the Abyssal Bludgeon, it's worth 30 mil, if I'm not mistaken. It's either 30 mil or 20 mil, but it's a good price.
Yeah.
Although if you get the Abyssal Demon Head, I think it's worth technically it's worth 21k because you can trade it in for 3 unsold heads, which sell for like 7K each.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You get the jar, which is, I don't know how much that's worth, but it's usually not too much. And then the pet, which kind of worthless, but at the same time, it's awesome to get one of those.
It's priceless if you think about it.
Yeah,
well,
priceless
a
is
mill.
what I
Of
should
course,
say.
the mill got insured for a mill, but it's priceless.
Wait, what?
Don't you have it's like 1 mil to insure pets?
Oh, yeah, insure it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like a negative price, but
Yeah.
yeah, I got my first unsired I got was the Abbey Dagger, which is one of the better things you can get. 6 mil, so that's fucking fantastic. I finally got another unsired, and I got a whip from that, 1.8 mil, so that's
Nice.
also pretty good. I was pretty stoked about that. Finally had enough money to buy a Cerdoman sword, Cerdoman God Sword, which is worth like 46 mil, which is my very first big ticket item.
Nice.
And it's taken me a month, more than a month, I want to say.
Yeah, but you got it forever now.
Yeah.
Pretty
And
nice.
the thing's pretty nice. Now, my only problem is I got it, and I started using it, and I kind of wanted to instantly sell it.
Really?
Yeah, like, the thing's pretty good. You basically use it just as a spec weapon, and it uses 50% of its special bar, and it'll heal you for, is it half of what you hit?
Half of what you hit, as long as it's above a 20, I think. Yeah, if you gotta hit over a 20. If you hit 20 or under, it'll heal you like 10, regardless.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. So yeah, you can heal yourself for quite a bit. Like if you hit like a 60, let's say, on the high end, you heal yourself for 30. But on the top of that, it gives you 5 prayer back. And so it is pretty good. The only problem is, so I used that, and then I went and I was doing some Slayer tasks, and I was using it, and I was just like, this thing doesn't feel like a 47 mil weapon investment, for me at least. Like, it's great, but I'm thinking of all the other things I could have bought and could be having instead. I could have full bandos, which I don't have yet. I could have a torture amulet, which I don't have. I could have primordial boots, which I don't have. I could have a bunch of best in slot gear for certain things, but instead, like, I decided to go with this Cerdoman God Sword. You kind of convinced me to get it, and then last week when we talked, because when you were explaining, it pays itself off over the course of like 7 years.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, you do start saving, like, quote-unquote saving money. I mean, you do it to make tasks like Suckwas and stuff are, like, way more convenient. There's random tasks, like, Dust Devils are nice. You don't have to, like, bring a bunch of food. Like, it is, like, a quality of life item, but if you value, like, a Torture Primordial, like, Tacits over it, then, I mean, obviously get what you want, whatever you think will be nicer.
Well, I was just trying to debate, because I haven't had those items yet.
Yeah.
I'm kind of rocking full Tor eggs almost all the time. I got a
Yeah.
Fury amulet, stuff like that, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you were to get other items, I would say get a Torture and the Tacits. Because melee strength bonus, I think it's the most efficient items. Because, like, Dragon Boots to Primordials, I believe, is only 1 melee strength. You're spending 20 mil for 1 melee strength.
Is that it? Yeah?
Yeah, I can double check right now, those, to make sure. Alright. So, yeah, the only thing you really get out of, you get some defensive stats. And, I guess you get accuracy, too. You get 2, accuracy for your melees. And you get 1 strength
Fair
bonus from your prims.
Okay, so it's something.
Yeah, it's a little bit more than just 1 strength, 2 accuracy, I guess, which isn't too much.
Yeah.
But the torture is really nice. You lose like prayer and defensive bonuses with the fury, and you gain offensive.
Yeah.
Tacits, like, you get way more. Like, they're way better than Torregs, right? Tacits are really good for General Slayer. They're really good for Cerberus. They're amazing at Bandos. If you're tanking, they're amazing at Bandos. Yeah, best in slot legs, right? They're really good. So if you value that, just like not having to worry, like if you like using like a Crystal Halberd and a DDS and stuff like that over the SGS, I mean, obviously do it up. I don't know. I was just saying SGS because, like, by the time, if you get your SGS and then you get your torture and all that stuff, you'll get them faster because you're saving money on prayer potions and shit. But then also, once you have every single item, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It kind of like, Yeah, in the beginning when I first got mine, I was like, it's kind of nice. But if I don't bring an SGS to a task now, it feels super weird. Like I always do, but...
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And like, yeah, that's the thing. I have my Crystal Halberd, so for a lot of bosses like the Abyssal Sire and like Bandos and stuff, I was bringing that. And a lot of times I'm just like, especially for the Abyssal Sire, I'm like, man, if I had the Torture Amulet and like the Bandos, I'd probably be able to take these kills out way faster.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So I was like trying to decide on what the value, like what would pay itself off more. Like the fact that I'm saving some prayer potions or and food with the SGS, or would I be able to run through tasks faster with melee offensives? Anyways,
yeah.
I didn't want to have spent like a month plus saving up for the SGS, buy it, and then decide to just, sell it instantly and buy all this gear that I could have bought way, way earlier, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll keep it for a bit. We'll see what's going on.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I did some more Slayer and stuff like that in between, and then I finally got my Hellhound task. I got 91 Slayer. I'm almost 92 Slayer, actually.
Nice.
So I can finally do Cerberus, and decided to try that out. And yeah, so I gave that a go. Although, well, let me ask you, what's your main offensive weapon for Cerberus?
I use SGS or the Crystal Halberd, just depending on how I feel. I mean, it's very different though, because I bring the Arcane or the Spectral, whatever one reduces the prayer loss at Cerberus.
Yeah, okay.
So I get a lot more value out of like an SGS with that. But I did like the SGS more than the Crystal Halberd.
You use that for your main weapon?
No, that's my spec weapon. My main weapon's a Hasta.
Okay, yeah. So I didn't have a Hasta, and I was looking up, like, I was reading some guides and stuff. How do you fight this thing, and what should I bring? And basically, the hierarchy of, your main weapon is Abyssal Bludgeon.
Yep.
Then it goes Hasta, and then Sarah Godsword. Not Godsword, sorry. Sarah, just the normal Saradomin sword.
Okay.
Because you're looking for a weapon that has really high crush.
Yeah.
Because he's weak to that. And I didn't really want to use a Sarah I keep saying Godsword.
Yeah, the Saradomin sword, though.
I didn't want to get a Saradomin sword for that, because that's just like, I feel like it's below me. Not that it's below me at this point, but like I used it to get 99 strength for like the whole time, and I'm like, I'm not going to go back to it for now. I'm just going to...
And plus,
I don't want one for a while.
You're using a 1 mil weapon, and then you're specking. If you bring your God sword, you're specking with a 45 or whatever mil spec weapon. Yeah, it seems a bit weird, but yeah.
So I liquidated a lot of my bank. I had a bunch of herbs and seeds and stuff that I'm like, you know what, I'll get these when I need them. And I was able to come up with about 7 mil or so and bought myself the Zamorakian Hasta.
Yep.
And well, that in itself was a huge pain in the ass, because I found out I had to go back and finish off the barbarian training because I did it in pieces.
I was waiting for you to say that. That gets everybody.
I just forgot that I didn't finish the whole thing. I did the firemaking part, and I did some of the fishing. Did I do the fishing? I don't even remember if I did the fishing, but I think I did. There's all these parts to it, and I couldn't remember where I had to, Anyways, so I go back, and I go try to do the barbarian training. And then I realized I got to do Twi Boni Trio quest, however you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
So I realized I didn't do that quest. And I had to go do that quest there, and that was a huge pain in the ass.
Yep.
Yeah, so finally I did that, and then I went back and did the training. By the way, fuck that training up a bunch, because you have to make a spear first.
Yeah.
And here's the problem with the... I don't know if it's the make all update or just the way the skilling works, but I brought 2 bronze bars because you need to make both a spear and a Hasta.
Yeah.
So I clicked it, made 1 bronze spear, and then I thought I could instantly make the Hasta, so I clicked the bronze bar on the anvil, and automatically, since I have no other bronze bars with me, it just automatically makes another spear. So then I had no fucking bronze bars to make this Hasta. It's a small problem, but it was a huge pain in the ass.
Yep.
So now I gotta go all the way back to the GE. Anyways, I just wanted to complain about that a bit. But anyways, finally got the Hasta. Finally did some Cerberus. And yeah, interesting boss. I don't know if you've gone over some of the mechanics with it.
Yeah, I did when I was killing it, but if you want to talk about it, go for it.
No, I just can't. I just don't remember. It's pretty straightforward. You know, he has like 2 mechanics you basically have to watch out for. One where he growls, and then he spawns these like lava pits, which is similar to the Abyssal Sire when he's spawning the little poison spawns.
Mm-hmm.
And then he has one where he goes like he does an Aru. That's what he says. The text appears above his head, and then these 3 ghosts come out. I know you've talked about this one. There's 3 different ghosts, and you got to kind of pray against them, and they're going to hit you for a 30 or drain your prayer for a 30 depending if you do mess up or not. And one thing I kind of want to just talk about is how fucking awkward that is.
Oh yeah, dude. I was complaining about it. It took me like 100 kills to get used to the flick timing.
Yeah. And like, I don't know, it's just, it makes me realize how weird RuneScape's tick system actually is. And like, there's a lot of things that don't work the way it looks like it should work. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For instance, we're gonna go with the ghosts that spawn. You gotta pray against them. You gotta switch between all 3 types because you'll have a guy that does, there's 3 of them that pop up in a row, and you kind of gotta flick between mage, range, and melee, depending on what order they come in.
Mm-hmm.
And I even had to ask you because I just couldn't understand it. But you have to pray against them, and like you got to switch your prayer once they're like midway through their attack animation.
Yeah.
If you keep your prayer on for the whole attack animation and you wait for the arrow to hit you, you're not gonna be able to pray against the next one coming up. It's gonna hit you and do damage. And like,
yeah, you have to preemptively like switch.
Yeah, but you do it basically before the arrow's hitting you, which is like, if you looked at it and you were watching it, you would assume that you keep your range prayer up until the arrow actually hits you, and then you switch. But no, you got to switch it while the thing's basically mid-flight, so it's going to hit you while you have your mage prayer on or something like that.
Yeah, I think a lot of like, the tick system is super weird with that, but like, there's a couple guys like Aber Inspectors. They have the same thing too. It's like some animations for some monsters you fight and like boss mechanics is really awkward to like pray flick against because there's like the animation of like it like casting its attack or spell, but then there's the actual like attack point. It's the only way I can really explain it. Mm-hmm. So like if, let's say like those like Aberrant Spectre or whatever has like a 1.5 second attack animation for that one specifically, it's like you have to pray on like the first like as soon as like 0.1 second of the animation you have to have your prayer up.
Yep.
And then you flick it during that point. But then, you know, if you're fighting like a man or something, you can flick it just as he hits you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, and it's the same thing with the little ghosty guys that the Cerberus does it. It's like their attack point where like the calculation is made is like at the very, very start of their animation. Mm-hmm. And it's weird. Like one thing, like the tick system does make it really weird because you have to like kind of preemptively change your prayers, but also like those 2 examples in particular are like just very like they're so awkward to get used to. Like, yeah, you kind of have to like be one step ahead, and it's like, oh, he's so like this order is like melee range mage. You like have melee before they even approach. Yep. And then as soon as his attack starts, and like as soon as like the animation leaves his hand, you're like, all right, now I'm gonna go range. And then once the ranger does that, okay, now I'm gonna go mage, and you kind of have to be like one step ahead. Yeah, so
you don't pay attention to the actual projectile. It's kind of like, I think the best way to describe it almost is like when you're PKing, if you want to flick prayer against the person who's fighting you, you gotta flick it before the experience drops for them.
Yeah.
So we've explained it before where like you'll know when you're PKing when you're gonna get a big hit because you'll see the experience drop, and then like a half second later a hit splat will hit your opponent.
Yeah.
So if you're the opponent, you don't see the other person's experience drop. You have to pay attention to the hit splat, but they can kind of predict and kind of tell when it's coming up. So you got to do that with like everything in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And another boss where it's like super awkward is Zulrah, because there's a phase he has where he'll attack between range and mage, and he'll go back and forth. Like each hit is the alternative one. And when the mage animation is pretty slow, like you'll have a fireball going through the air. When that fireball's going through the air, you already have to have your ranged prayer up. And then when he shoots range, you basically pray the opposite while it's in the air.
Yeah.
It's very weird, but I don't know, it's just some of the awkward things that come with RuneScape.
Yeah, I think most people kind of expect to like pray against it just before it hits you, but like I think the whole like imagine they have an experience drop thing. That's pretty good way to put it. You want to have it like before they have the chance to get the experience drop. I mean, monsters don't level up, but it's a good way to kind of think about it. I like that.
But and then another thing I also wanted to bring up with Cerberus that I noticed, it's some of these bosses, like when you get used to things like Zulrah, and I shouldn't say get used to, but it's funny when you compare Zulrah and the boss the Cave Kraken to bosses like Cerberus and Bandos. You don't make much money until you get a big drop.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think like Zulrah and the Kraken. I think those are like the only two I can. I guess Callisto and like some of the wilderness bosses, but fuck those. They kind of give you good consistent money, but generally bossing is you just kind of sit there and grind 200 kills and then boom, you get 20 mil. Like that's how it was for me in Cerberus. I did like 500 kills or some shit, and then boom, primordials, and I was like, oh fuck yes, like nice.
I thought it was just kind of funny because like I'm kind of learning the fight. It's all kind of awkward, and like I went to Cerberus being like, all right, time to make some bank, and then I've got like 25 kills under my belt right now, but I basically don't have anything in my bank to sell, at least that I want to sell, and I have like no money now. And like I'd run out of sharks and like potions, and I'd be like, all right, let's sell all the drops that I got from these 20 Cerberus kills, and I have 120k. Holy, I'm losing money. Like I'm losing a lot of money right now as I learn this fight.
Yeah, once you get the boss down, you'll either break even or you'll lose money per trip. Sometimes you'll make a little bit more if you get a lot of rune drops and stuff. But like when I was doing it, like with my, I don't remember the specific inventory setup I was using, but I'd go in with like about 100 or 120k per inventory worth of food and potions.
Yeah.
And I would price check to make sure if I made money or not. But sometimes you get ash drops every single time. Yeah. You know, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes.
Well, they only sell for 15 each, but I might as well collect them and, try to scrape as much money together as I can from these kills.
Yeah. But, if you get, like, the Eternal, Eternal not really. I mean, the only thing you really want is the Primordials. As soon as you get that, you're like, all right, that makes up for, like, 1,000 kills pretty much.
Yeah.
Almost 2,000, like.
You gotta hope.
Yeah. That's kind of the pain with bossing. And it's weird, though, to see, like, some of the older, like, all the God Wars bosses compared to, like, the new bosses. Like, there's, like, no mechanics with, like, Kelphite Queen, Bandos, Sarah, kind of, you kite her with range. But you know what I mean? You kind of just sit there and someone tanks and you hope you just kill it fast enough.
Yeah,
But with Cerberus, you kind of have to, like, do all these, same with Zulrah, you gotta do all these, like, crazy, like, little... Oh, I'm standing in lava, and there's ghosts attacking me now. I gotta, like, move and pray flick quickly while I'm drinking a prayer potion because I'm at, like, 58 prayer, and I want to be over 60.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty interesting, and it's, it's pretty cool.
Fun,
I do enjoy it, and then when you look at the Gargoyles boss, that boss seems to even be more, I don't want to say crazy in mechanics, but there's been more thought into the actual phases of the fight compared to Cerberus, even. Cerberus, I think, is a pretty cool boss. Pretty well done compared to, like, Kelphite Queen and stuff like that.
So far, Cerberus has been my favorite boss to, like, ever. Like, I love killing Cerberus. I'd get a Hellhound's task and, like, oh, fuck yes. And then I just grind up the task. Like, or no, yeah, I don't know. It's really fun.
And it just shows you the potential of what they can give to bosses in this game, only because it's not really been done before. You know what I mean? The bosses are very bare bones. It's pretty interesting. But yeah, that being said, that was basically it for my RuneScape week. It's like I said, my internet connection is really bad here. I tried to do Cerberus yesterday, and there's so many times where like everything would freeze, and I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
no. And then I would just
Man, maybe you should just like woodcut or something. As awful as that sounds, cut some use, get some total level up. Maybe get some extra,
yeah, that's what I was
an
thinking.
offline game.
Maybe
Just,
load
yeah,
up
do some
Stardew Valley on the side, do some rune crafting or something, or wood cutting.
Yeah, runecrafting is not that AFK, but
Yeah, fair enough.
yeah. Yeah, do some wood cutting, some fishing, whatever. Just make some money, get some, not a lot of money, but, get some total level up at the same time.
Yeah, and like that's the thing too. I've been on this huge Slayer grind for a pretty long time now, and I want to get my combat stats up, and they're kind of getting there. I got 88 defense. I'm close to 90, and I haven't done skilling in a while. And like I was driving home from work the other day, and like I was just thinking to myself, like maybe I won't do Slayer tonight, and instead I'll work on maybe doing some diaries, or maybe or something else, because a bunch of skills I should be getting up. My skills are all decent. They're like in their 70s, but it's still not really high. Level 70s is it's all right. Start. But yeah, and I was like thinking to myself, like, what should I work on? I have a lot of goals I want to do. I want to get at least 71 hunter so that I can get my imp boxes. Just because that's a interesting item to have. You familiar with imp boxes?
They allow you to like bank with them, right?
Yeah. So yeah. You don't hear too much about them, but at level 71, you get these imps in a box, and you can use it to, I think it's put 2 items, and he'll basically bring it to the bank for you.
Yeah.
So if I'm not mistaken, let's say you're out there doing black chins in the wilderness. You might have to be below 20 wilderness or below 30. It's one of the two. But
yeah, you run down to like I think it's 30. I can double check right now though. Yeah, 30.
Okay, so you got to be below 30, which is pretty good. So
take
in black
couple steps down from the black chin spot and toss her to the bank.
Yeah, and you save them all. You don't got to worry about getting PK'd for a large amount of chins.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a pretty cool item to have. It's very useful at times, and I'm just like, I always forget it exists because you don't hear too much about it. It's an item that I'm always like, oh yeah, that's right, that's a thing. It's nothing new either. So I kind of want to get the 71 hunter for that. Maybe even higher the better, so I could do like dragon imps.
Yeah,
something like that. I need to get my rune crafting up. It is by far my lowest skill. I think it's like level 57. And eventually I'm going to want to get 82 for I think it's the Firemaking Elite Diaries.
Yeah.
Because you can get noted Dagginoth bones when you're doing the Dagginoth Kings.
Yep.
Which is crazy, because I think Dagginoth bones are worth like, what, 5k each?
Yeah, you could camp Rex and just make a fuck ton of money.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Yeah.
I need to get since doing Cerberus, I need to get I don't even remember what the Slayer level is, but it's in the 80s in order to use that shortcut to get right to him.
The agility shortcut?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 81. I can summer pie boost for it, so it's nice. Okay. It's so nice. I would say if you like doing Cerberus and you want to grind them out on Hellhound tasks, it might be worth it just to get your agility up.
Yeah, I'm thinking I could get my agility up.
If you do that, do you have your Kandarin Hards done? Kandarian or Kandarin Hard Diaries?
No.
You should do that because it makes your crossbow or your enchanted bolts proc by an extra 5% or 15%. In general, 10. It's really that shit's OP for bossing. But the ability to teleport to Seer's Bank. So when you're doing the Camelot Seer's agility course, you bring law runes, so when you're done, you just teleport, and it makes it really, really good experience per hour. It's the best until Ardugany.
Okay. Deagin. So yeah, I could get my agility up there. Gotta get my farming up so I can put a spirit tree in my house.
Yep.
Just just a bunch of random things like that. Just a few off the top of my head that I could be doing, but so maybe I'll work on a few of them while I'm here going through with this, like, these internet spikes. But although, this hotspot's working pretty well, maybe I can do some more Cerberus today, but we'll have to see. Maybe I'll load up Stardew Valley on the side and do some of those AFK skills.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Shall we move on to the news?
I think we shall.
Decent. So this week, we got 2 new quests. I've yet to do them though. I don't know. Have you done them?
No, I have not.
Yeah, they're I'll probably try and get them done after I'm done bursting. But anyways, so we have Queen of Thieves, and the other one is the Depths of Despair. So with Queen of Thieves, it's the little preface or whatever prefix, the little summary, I guess. I don't know. The intro to the quest is the gangs of the Kurand have recently begun uniting under a mysterious figure called the Queen of Thieves. Somewhere in Port Piscarilius, this novice quest tasks the player with infiltrating the gang of Kurand in order to find the Queen of Thieves. So once you complete this, you'll get a quest point, 2,000 thieving experience, 2k gold, 10% Piscarilius favor in the form of a reward scroll, and the Fisher's Flute.
It's an item that allows you to teleport to this Piscarilius house.
Nice. This is pretty dope. So I know it's a short quest. So yeah, it won't be too hard. Hopefully Slayer Music 1 has a quest guide out soon. But yeah. The second quest is the Depths of Despair. Ardor Hosidius has gone missing, and Lord Candor Hosidius needs the players to help find his son and bring him home in this new novice quest. Completion of this quest rewards players with the following: 1 quest point, 1.5k agility experience, 4k gold, 10% Hosidius favor in the form of a reward scroll, and the lunch by what the fuck is this? Lunch by the Lancaliums?
Sounds good to me.
I have no idea. It doesn't help that it's in italics. I'm like blind. Yeah. Thought those 3 L's for a bit, but that is also like a teleportation scroll.
To the Hosidius house.
Yeah.
I want to mention about those 2 icons. They're kind of bad. I'm like, if you just look at the item icons, I'm looking at them on the wiki.
Yeah.
They don't look that great. The flute especially doesn't look like a flute. It looks like, you could say it looks almost closer to a cape. I don't even know. Like a sack. I don't know. It's
I hopefully they're stock items, like item holder, whatever. The wiki isn't using the actual ones, but
hopefully, yeah, they don't look too pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways,
the Cerberus memoirs. I don't even know how the fuck you'd say this one. God damn it, Jagex, making me look stupid over here. The Cerberus. I don't know. They have to put an apostrophe S by the end of that, just at the end of that to be a dick. Anyways, so the completion of the Clan of Kurand quest now yields this memoirs book as a reward. The item can be attained by Vios, who's found on the Piscarilius dock. The memoirs are wieldable and is used to teleport around Kurand. And the memoirs require you to add specific pages to the book that you get from these quests in order to be able to access the associated teleports. You must first charge the book before you teleport. And to charge the book, you have to visit the old memorial and inspect the statue or use the memoir on the statue. And when a page is added to the book, there's 8 charges added. And other charges require a body rune, a law rune, a mind rune, a soul rune. And you'll get 10 magic experience per charge added to the book.
Cool.
Yeah, not bad. So yeah. So those quest items do have a use. If you have done the Client of Kurand, you have to go back to Vios to get your item. I know I do. Thanks, Jagex. But
you also don't get to use your quest cape anymore too. You got to get these 2 done.
Yeah, this is bullshit. But yeah. So that's for the Current. It's nice they're actually finally, after like 2-3 years or whatever, adding teleportation methods around this big block.
And quests.
Yeah, and quests too. Hopefully they're fun. I have no idea really what you'd be doing in them, but yeah, they're probably they are
high
short.
quality, to be honest.
Yeah. But yeah, we mentioned this before, but the Bandos Godsword has gotten a buff, along with the ornamented one, so they didn't oversee that. So they reduced, the special attack used to be 65%, and now it's 50%. And,
cool.
Yeah, no stat changes have been made. It is just now consistent with all the other God Swords. It was really weird that the shittiest, the Zamorak God Sword was good for PvP. The AGS is really good for PvP. Sarah God Sword is really good for PvM. Bandos is pretty decent for bossing and stuff, but Bandos was the only one that had 65%, which is weird because it was one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
But, where the special attack was. But, yeah, they made it more in line with all the other God Swords. And they added a Grotesque Guardian boss display, so you can now get a Jar of Stone from the Grotesque Guardians, and you can add them to your boss layer display in the achievement gallery of your POH.
Nice. 2 bosses for 1.
Yeah. Finally, but yeah, a nice 2 for 1. Other changes is death is now not in the game. You might notice that.
Yeah, no one can die in the game anymore. Congratulations.
Yeah. No, they took out like the Grim Reaper dude. So
yeah.
Yeah. They added the appearance change of the uncharged DFS and the ancient Wyvern shield, the AWS. So yeah, you can now know if it's charged or uncharged. There was an issue with slicing or dicing fruit. With the make all update, it like would always slice all, no matter what. You'd have to like manually stop it. Yeah, so they fixed that. The Bone Crusher, you can now toggle it to stop crushing bones. If you want. I don't know why you would, but if you want to, you can. Torn Clue Scrolls can now be destroyed instead of just dropped. And doors and... Okay, this is something that kind of caught me off guard. I think we talked about this before, but doors in PvP worlds now act like they do in Deadman worlds to prevent them from being spammed.
Yeah.
So they had mentioned they had fixed this a while ago, but not all the doors, like it was still an issue in PvP worlds where if like Torvesta dies like twice in 1 week, like he loses, like he gets PK for like 90 mil in one of his videos because a clan was spamming doors on him and he died.
Right, that sucks.
Yeah, but it's super weird that they only did it to I thought they added it to PvP like the week after. I want to say they said they did, but maybe they didn't. Maybe I'm just crazy.
They forgot these weekly updates, man. They forget things so easily. And it's understandable, I suppose, but still.
Yeah. Apparently there's grammatical errors in the King of the Skill worlds. I don't know what, why, or how, but yeah. But yeah, that is pretty much it. We have a little bit more to go on.
It's a fair bit amount of news this week.
Yeah, got a lot to go over. Hopefully not too much though. But yeah, so the Deadman mode winter finals, they have released some info on that. So it'll begin around 12 p.m. GMT, 7 a.m. EST on Monday, the 4th of December. And then they'll go until the 9th on Saturday. So they'll go from Monday to Saturday. And the permadeath stage begins at 7 p.m. GMT on the 9th, on the Saturday. And
Cool.
yeah, they have a $20,000 prize, getting pretty hefty. And we talked about this before, but we gave our 2 cents on it, but we'll just bring it up. Some major changes.
I just want to clarify real quickly. The tournament will be on the Saturday, and check the time for you on the 9th of December.
Yeah,
just keep your eye out for that. Maybe we'll have to hit up that meltdown bar and see if they're playing it. I doubt it.
Yeah, we talked about this before, but they've added some things like supply chests, which in every Battlegrounds-esque game, there'll be chests that appear each time the fog advances, and they'll announce the location of the 2 chests in different stages. So the first notification will be like a vague, it's in Falador somewhere, and then if it's not looted by then, a second notification will say it's in the party room.
Yeah.
Examples, but they'll offer very lucrative rewards, such as sought-after weapons with good specs, lamps to increase combat skills, overload potions, and yeah, you'll get a big power buff pretty much if you loot them. It'll be really nice.
Seems like the idea.
Yeah. Because honestly, having an overload for the final areas that we'll go into in a minute would be super good. But we'll talk about that later. Well, I guess maybe now, but yeah, the final areas. Just trying to keep you guys on your toes, Don't skip ahead. The next changes come with an addition of a second final area, so they'll evenly split players between the two final areas. One will be Barbarian Village, the other will be the Demonic Ruins. Two areas they've already used before in the final hour. And it'll be 64, two groups of 64, or the last 64 players in each final area, the 128 in total. They'll be transported to different final islands, which we talked about this before, but there'll be 7 brackets, including the finale, and they just kind of divide the numbers by 2. It'll be two groups of 64, and then 32... There'll be 64 arenas, and then there'll be 32 arenas, 16, 8. And they kind of just keep dividing everyone up into forcing 1v1 fights.
Yeah, it'll be like a ladder.
Yeah. And having something like an overload would be so busted, because if you overload before the fight, and you're fully healed and stuff, if the fight goes on for 5 minutes, which is the default time for overload, you'll lose your stats, but you'll heal up 50 health.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, true.
That could be game changer. Plus the extra boosted stats, and if you're brewing, you don't permanently lose the stats too. You can just restore and you can get back to them. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be pretty cool. But they're holding a permadeath beta. They'll be doing a public test of this on the 23rd of November. And just to make sure everything is fine, we joked about it before, but maybe some MSB or magic longbow specs across an island, maybe some ice barrages. Maybe they don't have the islands done properly.
It's the Deadman dream.
Yeah, maybe you can drop some flowers and you can just place flowers and walk out of the island. You can just leave the battle zone and win.
What else could happen? Just think, what else could we have? Someone sets up a dwarf cannon, maybe?
Yeah.
Shoots all the other players?
I don't know. Maybe, yeah. Who knows? But, yeah, they're going to try and get all the janky stuff out of there. See, the issue with public tests with these betas is they hope that players report problems, but for not just RuneScape, specifically other games, people find game-breaking exploits and purposely don't tell anyone so they can abuse it. But we know they'll get banned.
Try to figure them out. They tell their clan mates, guys, here you go. This is what we got to do.
Yeah, it happens all the time, and it's happened Counter-Strike tournaments and stuff like that. It happens all the time. Not the whole it being a beta, but people purposely holding on to game-breaking little bugs. But we know Jagex will ban them. They said that they can kind of ban if they feel like it's going against the spirit of the game.
Yeah, they got security guards now that are going to just take people out.
Well, kind of. They have anti-cheat specialists to help moderate the events in the finals.
Specialists.
So what if you're in the final hour, Jagex employees will show up to your house and they'll just kind of watch over your shoulder.
The men in black.
Maybe they'll smack your mouse away if you're about to kill one of their friends or something.
They just come with scissors and they just start cutting cords.
They plug in a wireless mouse and they just kind of move the mouse for you. When you're trying to eat and they just move into the middle of the screen and get you killed.
They log out to a legit world and they just trade all your items to their account.
You die.
Motherfucker.
Yeah, they have to verify your account, so they log in, get your bank pin, transfer everything over. But yeah, so there'll be anti-cheating specialists, and I say that with quotations because with anti-cheating specialists, you kind of assume in games like Counter-Strike or something, or League of Legends, they have people to make sure someone's not scripting or hacking. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing is like, is anti-cheating meaning they're gonna fly around and make sure nobody's boxing? Are they gonna be in teams as like TeamSpeaks listening to make sure no one's getting DDoSed? Like, I don't know how they're gonna I don't know exactly what that means by anti-cheating specialist, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. That's a hard one.
Let's just hope they don't splash like water on your keyboard or something. That's the best you can hope for.
They just give everyone a cat, and the cat will just sit on your keyboard as you're playing. You're like,
start eating your wires and shit. Yeah, so for the first brackets, I went over them, but they'll be 60, like they'll have like a 64 1v1s and then 32, 16, 8. And then they'll have like the quarterfinals, semi, and grand finals. So for the first bracket, players will be teleported with the gear and stats and inventory that they left the main area with. Demonic Ruins or Barbarian Village, and items that are manually dropped by players cannot be picked up or traded whilst in the arena. Healing supplies will not be dropped on death. So if you are against a clanmate, you can't, there's no point in letting him kill you because he's not going to get any of your supplies or, things that you manually drop.
Yeah.
So like if you have full Darox for God knows what reason, you can't just drop it over to him and, kill yourself. I think he'd have to kill you and then equip it, make sure, whatever. But, yeah, it's just to prevent any type of weird clan, advantage.
Yeah, they're trying really hard.
Yeah, so during the whole fight, each fight, there'll be slow ticking fog, and that will just do they've said it'll do little amounts of damage to your health, but, in the past, little amount was 20 every tick. So hopefully it's like only 2s and 3s for the first couple minutes, first 5 or 6 minutes.
Yeah, I never really know.
I think the big thing is that does make overloads a lot more valuable. If it's taking for 2s and low amounts of damage, and because you're gonna have to brew, right? Brews only heal 16, I believe.
Yeah, it depends. I think what your health already is, it's percentage.
Yeah, it is percentage based. Yeah, I'm just gonna assume everyone's at 99 HP, even though that's not correct at all. Most people aren't, but I'm gonna say almost everyone isn't.
70s and stuff.
Very few people are in the high 100s, but yeah. Anyways, once only one player remains in that arena, they'll automatically be teleported into the next bracket. And you'll have some time to pick up the loot from your opponent, like the armor and stuff. And once you progress beyond the first bracket, you'll have your inventory wiped of supplies, of food and potions, not your actual items. And then they'll give you a set number of food and potions to even the competition outside of gear upgrades that they obtain. And before the final, they'll tell you what the supplies are. Good. So hopefully they don't mess it up and some guy gets 6 brews, but another guy gets 4 because he didn't have enough inventory space.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Hopefully they have a good way that they're gonna kind of iron out in the beta. They have mock-ups. So they have a mock-up final concept. It kind of, I don't know if you're looking at the pictures, but it reminds me of the castle in the wilderness.
Yeah, the Black Knight's fortress, right?
Yeah, it kind of seems like there's a bunch of jail cells or areas that you would fight in.
Looks like that in itself can will be preventing people from ranging. You know what I mean? You got actual walls dividing people up.
Yeah.
Although the picture shows 3-4 jail cells next to each other, so it's a fence, and you can arrange people over the fence and stuff. So
yeah, hopefully they figure this out in the beta that oh shit. But it also, the biggest issue is if it's if they can range, it's bad if it's multi, and it's worse if it's single, because Buddy busts out a bronze arrow. Buddy busts out a maple short bow with rune arrows. Because it's a good little callback. But yeah, hopefully they have this all figured out. Yeah. So first place gets $20,000. Second place gets $10,000. Third and fourth place get $1,000. The other 12 get a free year of membership. So
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Good stuff.
But yeah, that is it for the Deadman mode. I do like how they're changing things up pretty heavily.
Yeah, I like it. Like, they do this every season. You know, we talked about before when they first proposed what they were going to be doing, but you know, I probably say this every time, but I'm excited to watch this tournament, see how it plays out. Honestly, I'm pretty excited to see if there's any issues.
Yeah.
There always is.
Yeah.
So I say it like every tournament. Oh, I'm excited to see how it plays out. And then part of me is going like, all right, who's going to figure out the next bug?
Yeah. This one I think will be my favorite, regardless of how it turns out, because they're forcing 1v1s. And that's what we all want to see. We talk about this before and after and during every single Deadman mode. We talk about this like 20 times a year. But it'll be good. Let's move on. Let's move on to something we have never talked about before. Something new.
I'm down.
So, Wilderness Rejuvenation 2 rewards.
Ooh, this is interesting. Let's hear
They're
it.
repolling a lot of things. The Revenant Caves. We're gonna, talk about this like the fucking 4th episode in a row. Jesus, Jagex.
Come on, let's
Throw us a bone here. So, they have buffed the Vesta gear. No.
yeah, they tripled the stats.
Yeah.
Non-degradable.
They've changed a lot of things. They've repoled a lot of stuff and they've done some changes.
So before we start this off though, the last poll with it, many of the things failed. I think we talked about this already, but most of the items failed. The Revenant Caves in itself passed, but they don't want to release Revenant Caves with just notables and alkables. Oh god, I hope they don't do that.
Yeah.
They want to give it some actual uniques. So instead of just scrapping everything, they kind of, they're coming back to us with some changes to some of the original ideas, and they've added a few more to hopefully see if these ones will pass.
Yeah. The main reason why they're repolling these as well is because a lot of these fail by like 1 or 2%.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of these were so close to like that one Reddit post getting to someone's heart, Like that's how close it was.
Some of them, There's a few that were like 5% and stuff like that, but they were still kind of a good idea, and Jagex you can tell they kind of, they're a little invested, it feels like.
Yeah, it's a little bit of that, but also the community kind of was destroying the subreddit for like 2 weeks straight, pretty much. But like a lot of them came close enough that it was like, let's make some changes and see if that does anything. And if it doesn't go through this time, I think they're gonna just scrap it. Mm-hmm. Because if they do it a 3rd time in a row, it kind of would be like they're forcing this update to go through.
Yeah, it starts taking away the integrity of the polls, right? It's one thing to come back with a whole fresh new idea, but it's totally another to just keep tweaking the same items. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But anyways,
because there definitely have been, we did mention that we do want them to like, oh, this doesn't pass, let's see if we can kind of make it better.
Yeah.
Instead of just scrapping the idea, because we do like that idea, but they can't do it too much. So hopefully,
and it's hard to tell from a polls when it's a yes or a no, whether people are saying they're being like, no, fuck the PvP updates because I'm a PVMer and I don't want to be at a disadvantage. Or you don't know if it's someone being like, I like this idea, but I just don't like the complete execution.
Yeah.
So hopefully they take a step back, look at it, and come back to us with, here's what we think would work better.
Yep. And yeah. So some of the rewards reworked, like the Amulet Apparel. So a lot of people were concerned about how strong it would be, especially with counts that were built for rushing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so they have some options. So the first option is that when it's uncharged, it's a +5 attack bonus to everything, like range, mage, melee.
Sure.
And +5 melee strength. And when it's fully charged, it's a +25 to everything and 15 melee strength. Only. They say only, but that is a lot.
Yeah, it's pretty big.
But the charge is based on the percentage of HP left.
Mm-hmm.
So it works in increments of 10. So a player with 99 HP, if you have under 9 or under hit points, that's when you get the maximum stats. So it's really, really risky, obviously, to go for that fully charged amulet.
Yeah.
So you must be in combat with your primary target for at least 5 game cycles. So I think they mean tick
Yeah.
when they say that. So 3 seconds you have to be fighting someone. So you can't like rock cake down to 1 HP and then go rush somebody.
Yeah, and you can't also fight your friend for 5 seconds and
Yeah.
then switch targets and face someone else.
Yeah. So I like. What are your thoughts on that? Would you like that as an option? You think that's good?
Yeah, it seems pretty fair. It makes it a bit more tricky in multi-combat. It seems like it's an Edgeville item or PvP World 1v1 item.
Yeah, it seems really, really bad for multi-combat. But I think that's kind of the point. I think it's supposed to be like an Edgeville exclusive item.
Yeah.
I think. Or a single deep wilderness single target item, like Black Chins or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Black Chins is Black Chins actually would be really busted now that I think about that. Because you find someone who's like in tank gear, right? And you wouldn't go, like, I'm not assuming you would go down to 9 HP. You would probably go down to like 30 or something, right?
Yeah.
If you're that risky. And then you would attack them, you can maybe teleblock them and snare them, maybe sit there and hit them with like a couple of arrow shots, go in and spec them, hit them for a bazillion damage. Like, it would be really good for killing some of those skillers.
So you gotta keep in mind, the original proposal was only melee, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Now this will benefit you for both mage and range, too. So, yeah.
And if you see someone with an amulet, like, you know, if this does go through, and I'm gonna use the Black Chins example, and you're bringing full tank gear, might be worth it to bring an AGS. You know, instead of bringing that Carol's top or something, you just have a D-hide, because, you know, you normally bring 4 items if you're, like, a high level, and you're expecting to just to tank your way to telly or whatever.
Yeah.
You could bring, like, an AGS and just Vengeance spec them, combo them back, and...
Yeah, Vengeance spec, Ring of Recoil. Boom, you might actually...
Yeah, it does give some options for low levels to kind of come back. They're not low levels. What am I saying? PVMers to come back and kind of anti-PK.
Yeah, exactly.
Shit, you could even have one on your own, one of these on like your own. You know, you bring one and you have it equipped. Someone's attacking you. They go in to like finish you off. You could just literally do what they're doing to you, but do it back to them.
Yeah, and that's the
I
thing.
do kind of like that.
One thing that's kind of interesting to note, at least from my experience, is if you're PVMing in the wilderness and you have a PKer coming at you, many times they are not prepared for you to fight back, necessarily.
Yep. There's a reason why they're killing you while you're skilling. Let's just say that.
For me too, if I'm killing PVMers, if I'm killing a rune crafter, I am not prepared for that rune crafter to turn around and bring out an AGS to spec me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, I'm sorry if I mentioned this last episode. The week was kind of jangled, so I couldn't remember. But I was doing the God Wars in the wilderness, and I had a guy come try to PK me, and I had a DDS and stuff, and I ended up turning around and fighting him back. And the dude started, and I spec'd him pretty high because he's all in mage gear, and he fucking booked it. He started running away because he was like, "Oh fuck, I wasn't ready to get dropped by a DDS spec."
Yeah.
So any PVMers out there in the wilderness, bring that DDS, bring some vengeance, you know, bring some items that you could like turn around and fight back. So
there is a YouTuber. I wish I knew what his name was. If I Googled it, I couldn't find it. Well, maybe I could, but he's posted on Reddit a couple times and he kills like Venenatus and stuff. He's going for a pet, but he brings a setup specifically for if people try and kill him while he's killing Venenatus, he can turn around and finish them off. And he's like, he's even mentioned it. He makes most of his money killing PKers.
Yeah, fair enough. Because like, the PKers who are fighting PVMers don't really care if that PVMer is going to skull. You're not going to skull as a PVMer, right? So they're going to go for you either way for that one chance at getting your Verox helmet or whatever it is.
Or if you have a good drop or something, you know, you're holding on to bird's nests or something from Callisto, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's the first option though. So there is another option. I kind of like that first option. It's definitely much better than like all my worries for the old one are kind of not with this one, except I think with the first suggestion, they said it didn't work with Darox and they don't specify it with this. So you could maybe Darok PKers, which is like, there's a lot of people that just do 1v1s in full Darok and stuff like that.
I don't know if they mentioned whether or not I work with Deherox, because I always thought it would go hand in hand with the Deherox. But anyways, yeah.
Yeah, if it does, that does bring up like one question that they don't really resolve, because that is like, it kind of ruined DH fights a little bit. Because it does. Like, it makes it super like funky. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe it makes them more consistent with skill instead of RNG. Because there are times, you hit someone and they vengeance you down to 30 HP, and you're like, all right, now I can DH him and try and kill him. You hit a 0 and then you die, right?
Yeah, sure.
Maybe it makes it more consistent. It's like a lot of the attack bonus is that, but who knows? Anyways, it doesn't matter. Option 2 is that the amulet would, when uncharged, would have the same offensive stats as a Fury, but the stats would not change based on your missing percentage of HP. Instead, it would apply scaling stats, so the amulet would be applying a flat damage boost to all attack styles from 0 to 25%.
Whoa,
and
okay.
the charge is based, or the charge would be based on the percentage of HP the hit points wearer has left, working in increments of 25. That doesn't make any sense. Wait, what?
Maybe it's like in between the increment. I don't know.
Yeah, okay, so I understand this. So instead of it being, you're right, instead of it being a percentage, so, I'm missing 64% of my health, I get a 64% boost to my amulet. It works in increments of 25. So at 99 and above, you would get 0, 75, you would get 5, 50, you would get 10, 25, you get 15, 10, you get 25.
Okay.
So it would be like you look for certain thresholds of health, but the trade-off is that it is as good as a Fury at full health.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with, you can't rush with it, gotta wait 3 seconds on your person you're attacking.
Fair enough.
They only would apply in PvP, so you could not abuse it at, bosses, thankfully.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. As it stands, at face value, I would say I like option 1 more. Because with option 2, if it's always going to be as good as a Fury, 1, that is a huge buff to Pures.
Yeah.
And like low-level Pures are already pretty stupid in terms of how strong they are. But I mean, obviously that's why their Pures are meant to do that. But I mean, like, rarity. How much is this necklace going to be worth? And how hard is it going to be to obtain? That is, very important.
It is. But I try to think about when it's important about like how rare it'll be, but I always try to think down the road, we're going to have a bunch of these in the game, like the Integrity. A year from now, there's going to be a handful of these. Sure, they could be pretty fucking rare. How often do you see a Twisted Bow? It's almost been out for a year. It's still pretty rare. But, I like to think like, okay, eventually these will be more commonplace in the wilderness because more people will have them, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I think of the stats, basically, I don't care about how rare it is. I don't want an item that's like crazy, even stronger than both of these put together times 2. Even though it's like 1 in a 1 million chance of getting it, right?
Yeah.
Because that one person who has it, I start thinking like, okay, down the road, there's going to be more of these in the game. I don't care how rare it is necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Which it could be faulty thinking on my part. Probably is now that I'm thinking about it. But still, it's just, when looking at these items, I'm always thinking about the stats. Will these stats fit in the game? I don't care how rare they are. Will it fit?
Yeah.
Stat-wise.
Because, no, that does bring up a really good point, because if this is based for Edgeville, a lot of people, especially like level 70 to 90 Pures, they will opt into to do a no-skull fight, so either you skull on them, or you skull and you go to Dueling Arena or Clan Wars, wherever you lose your skull, you lose it and you come back. So, I want to PK with my Robin and my Blowpipe and my Fury. I don't want to risk it, though. I'm not sculling. You have to skull on me. But don't worry, I have 50k in my inventory. It's worth it. Like, that happens all the time. Like, it's the one thing I fucking hated about PKing when I was level 100 is that every AGS pure would never skull. And so I'm risking like 300k and they have an advantage and they're risking like 100k. I'd get their magic shortbow and food. That's it. You know?
Sure. Like there are items, like some cosmetics that pures use. Like there's the flare trousers, which are worth like a mil plus. And they're just cosmetic risk items.
But like it's gotten to the point now where you'll see very often in PvP, like somebody will have one prayer and then they're bringing in AGS, but they're not risking anything because they just won't skull, or they'll do a skullless fight. Where like the whole risk reward thing that we kind of meme about is like that you kind of bring up with like it doesn't really matter how valuable it is or how rare it is because the stats are the most important thing. If it's a 1 in 1 million and it's the best in slot necklace, like it's still busted. And I mean, it might just, I don't know exactly how much this would affect pures and stuff like that and just Edgeville PKing, because a lot of people don't skull. So if it's worth 10 mil or if it's worth 100k, it's either, am I going to bring this instead of my Fury and I don't have to worry about sculling, or am I sculling with it? That's like the only difference, really. So, that being said, regardless if this comes in, like it would kind of kill the price of glories. Yeah. Because glories are the go-to necklace for PvP, and if it's better than a glory in every single way, like what's the point of it now? You just use it for PVMing. So
yeah, I mean, I feel that. Although
I do want to like ask someone who only PKs. I want to ask someone who's got a bunch of max pures, who like is like obsessed with PKing, who's done it all, who knows it all, and would like be able to give us like a better like opinion, like a more well-rounded opinion. Because ours are like, for this specifically, it's like we understand that people use glories in Edgeville, and like would this be really bad?
Which option are you talking about? Either or?
Either or.
Okay, fair enough. I
more or less the second one though, of its base stats of a Fury.
So here's my worry about the second one. So yeah, the Fury stats, okay, sure, but on top of that, the percentage of how much damage you could do. Now again, this is like very situational, but you know, I was reading people comparing the percentages and the damage you could do, but you could potentially, let's say you're under the 10% threshold. I was reading that you could be hitting like 98s with a ballista.
Yeah, so that's disgusting.
You could be hitting 102 with an AGS spec.
Is this full max strength though? And
probably full. So yeah, you're not going to be really seeing that necessarily. But
like, what if you're a Void Ranger? You're a Void Pure with a heavy ballista, and you have this necklace, and you ballista Gmaul someone, and let's say you're at like 10 health.
So that's the thing. Like, you're not really going to have people at 10 health. So that's the problem when you start saying, well, you could hit 98.
Realistically, though, like 25 HP is pretty realistic for like a risk when you're risking to go kill someone. You know what I mean? Where if you're at like 20, but I'm like 25% of your base health, that's pretty common.
Yeah, so you start taking these, you start changing up the numbers a bit. So that's the absolute max you could hit. But still, hitting like an 85 with an AGS, still pretty worrisome. I think hitting a 78 is pretty goddamn ridiculous, and that's already doable right now in the game. So, like, you start adding these numbers in, so you know what I mean? Even with a 5% damage boost, 5% to what, 75 is, let me do the math. Okay, so let's say 5% damage boost, which you would get if you had 75% health or more, right?
Yep.
So you get a 5%, and let's just say you hit a 70. That's going to be giving you a 4 damage boost, that's not a whole lot, but that's just me trying to take more reasonable numbers.
Yep.
And being at 75% health is like pretty common. You know what I mean? You start healing at 75% health and you're going to get called a safer. You know what I mean? So you start changing numbers up to like, okay, what about 10%? What about, 10%? Now you're hitting a 77 and that's going off a 70. So it's you start getting into some scary areas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like the big thing is like if you're like a MSB to Gmaul Pure and you have a big experience drop and you go in, you're going to be sitting around 70. Like, there is a good chance that, like, you could get knocked into 50% or lower. And there's a lot of times where peers get that awkward moment where they both spec each other at the same time, right? The same tick. They'll, like you've seen it. I've seen it all the time. It's happened to me. I've done it to people where, like on my peer and stuff, where you go to attack someone and spec them and they do it to you at the same time because you both get a high hit. And then you both combo. And then you're left at, like, 1 HP. But, like, with the percentage, I mean, this percentage buff that you'd be getting during that spec and all that, and then that would make pit a lot more important too, right?
Mm-hmm.
If someone's hitting you as you're doing your spec and, like, they bring you down to, like, 25% of your maybe let's, like, under 50% of your threshold, right? So you're doing 10%, but then you have PID and your damage gets registered first. Like, I don't know. It does bring, like, a lot of questionable things. I guess the first option that would be more impactful for, like, a moment like that you both kind of all in each other.
So personally, though, I don't see too many issues with the option 1. Option 2 is when I'm start seeing, like, these what if scenarios. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which I'm not a huge fan of the whole what if scenario, but, like, sometimes it's worth talking about, right? Sure, you're not going to have somebody sitting at 5% health who's going to be hitting maxed with it, so now you're getting one shot. But, you know, you start taking the numbers down a bit, and, like, you start seeing what's more realistic, and even that, you're like,
like, even if you're in deep wilderness and you're brewing to 110 plus HP, right? You're brewing to, like, max health. You're still kind of getting a free fury that you're equipping instead of a glory.
Although, like, when we're talking about the fury stats in itself, I'm like, yeah, I mean, I don't have the problem with the fury stats. It is a buff, but at the same time, they want to bring some buffs into the PvP scene. So, like, okay, fine, people are using furies. Whatever. But my problem becomes with the damage percentage boosts.
My worry is that you're kind of getting a free fury that doesn't need to be activated. Like, the stats won't be all zeros. Like, for 3, like it'll be like if you go up and rush somebody. I'm using an exaggerated example. You're rushing somebody, regardless, you're getting stats of a fury. To my understanding, it says for any additional damage, you have to be in combat for 3 seconds. So, like, regardless, you're getting a fury, and it does make PKers killing PVMers more skewed in their favor. It does put PVMers at a bit of a disadvantage because it's now they're wearing a fury.
Yeah, like, the reason why I don't see that as much of a problem, like, sure, it's a problem, but we already have a fury in the game that they can do that with. They have a torture amulet that they could do that even.
But the whole thing
a step up.
The whole thing is like the whole, like, that's why I bring in value and how much are they risking, because I'm like, if I'm in the, like, let's say me and my buddies want to go kill some people in the wilderness, and, like, we're killing people at Venenatis, or we're just killing whoever, like, are we gonna wear, like, because most of them will bring an AGS. It's pretty common if you're, like, a max account and you're doing no on or tribe raiding or anything like that. Like, you're gonna bring an AGS. And so when you're sculling, you're protecting that. But if you're risking, like, a necklace that's worth 1 mil on top of all the gear you're wearing, like, are you gonna bring an AGS now? You're gonna bring a Gmod instead? Like, it does, you know, the value does change what you'd be bringing out. That's the only reason why, like, I bring all that stuff up. And you could bring a fury, and people do bring furies and stuff, right?
Yeah. But, like, these amulets, I'm sure, aren't going to be dirt cheap. I'm sure they're going to be pretty expensive for a while. You know what I mean? With the stats that they have, they're going to be an item that people don't necessarily want to risk, right?
Yeah. But yeah, 2 years from now, what's the impact?
Yeah, but, like, look at the Fury. It's been 3 years since this game's been out. Still sitting at, what, 3 mil?
Yeah.
And I bought a Fury for 3.5 mil, like, 2 years ago. So, you know what I mean? Like, wow, this game's going on 4 years, actually. In February, it'll be 4 years. But anyways, it's still, I feel like years from now, it'll still be an item that people aren't going to want to openly risk like you would with a Glory.
Yeah. Well, that's why I bring up, like, drop chance. Because if it's, like, a 1 in 100, like, you know, a year from now, everyone would be. It'd be meta. Why would you bring a Glory when you can spend 100k on this? But, yeah, I see your point, though. It does kind of want to know what everyone's opinion on it is, though. Like, if you guys have an opinion, let us know, because, like, amulets kind of, like, It's better. It's definitely better. I don't even know if I'd vote yes or no yet, though, right? I'd want to like get other people's opinions on like people that do PK, and yeah, I'd like to like. I want to look into this more before I vote, but yeah. It only does apply in PvP, so don't worry. That's a nice benefit. But yeah, do you want to move on to the next item?
Yeah, let's move on to what else is in this update.
So the next item we have is the loot key scroll that barely passed, so they want to reintroduce with some new options. And so there was confusion in the beginning on how it worked, but it was going to be like a one-time use where you get a toggleable option to get these keys off of people instead of having to loot.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of people were asking, like, shouldn't this just be in the bounty hunter store? And they said, honestly, it's a good idea, but we kind of just want to add it to the Revenant drop table. Which that alone does. That's not a good reason to have it to the Revenant drop table. As in, like, well, we want them to have tradables and not just alkables and stuff, right?
I see what they're going with it, but yeah, when it comes to, like, being consistent, it would make more sense for it to come at the bounty hunter store. But they're getting desperate. They don't want to release these Revenant caves with nothing, so they're getting desperate here. Yeah,
it definitely does kind of feel a little desperate on their part. And they just want to add diversity to the Revenant table. And yeah, so anyways, you can so this is what they say. So many players have asked why this isn't in the bounty hunter store. Whilst we can see why this would be wanted, it does give more options for PKers to spend their points on. And we think them coming from a drop is a more favorable option. You currently can purchase any item of choice in the bounty hunter store via emblems, which can be obtained from the GE. And the loot key scroll would be tradable, meaning anyone that doesn't want to gather or buy emblems could buy the scroll from the GE, as you can with emblems.
Yep.
They want to diversify the drop table by adding it to it, and they want everyone to have a chance to unlock instead of having to like, okay, let me, like with the rune pouch, all right, let me go buy like whatever 28 or whatever 21 emblems from the GE and then go exchange it. Like, that does kind of seem weird for.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to allow you to just buy it. So
yeah.
They've also seen players request the ability for loot keys to have the option for food and supplies be split from the key, so they can restock after each kill. That is completely busted, though.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, they say they acknowledge that's busted. That is kind of little too much to ask for. But yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the changes that they're proposing. So the original loot key scroll it was permanent. This would make it so it's not a permanent unlock. So if you were to get it and use it, you'd be able to use the toggle option as many times from the witch at Edville at no cost, but you only get 5 keys from it. So it was kind of like the other option that we were talking about, where you kind of get to pick and choose from you'd go to the witch and you would choose to use it or not, and you only get 5 uses out of the scroll. No matter who you kill, you would it would count.
Yeah, interesting.
Even if
it's funny, we had this conversation when it was first proposed, because you and I were both kind of confused. I thought it worked the original way, and you thought it worked this way.
Yeah.
And but here we are. They're switching it to the way that you thought it would work.
Yeah, it's coming full circle. And so if in the event you kill someone holding loot keys, you would still be able to pick them up with a limit of 5 keys in your inventory, and it would not change the remaining kills, so you don't have to worry about that. And so this would mean the players who wish to use the key scrolls will have to choose their targets, and they can only claim a certain amount of kills to the keys before having to get a new one. So it will keep the item in high demand. And when you kill a player with the loot keys enabled, the key would be dropped in the normal way you'd expect normal to drop from the kill. You'd have to go and pick up the key.
Okay.
And the keys would have an inspect option on them. This option is available while they're on the floor or in your inventory, and they'll tell you the value of the key. So imagine if you have OS Buddy, you can examine an item, and it'll tell you the price on the GE. It kind of works like that, but it'll be an inspect instead of just an examine.
Gotcha.
You can decide whether or not it's worth getting rid of one of your existing keys for one on the floor, blah, 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 blah. But yeah, if you don't have any keys on you, it still uses up one of your charges, or if, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Makes sense.
The keys will always be lost on death, no matter what. You won't have a special indicator if you have a key, so you won't be able to be picked out from a crowd if you have it.
Okay.
With this change, I do see it. The first excuse was I want to kill Venezuelans and gold farmers in the wilderness. This changes it so you can't use that excuse anymore, because let's be real, no one's gonna drop a bunch of money to kill bots. You're gonna do it to kill me at Callisto, you asshole. God damn it.
That being said, you're gonna wait for the scrolls to drop down to like 10k a pop, and then you'll go kill.
Yeah.
'Cause you know what I mean? You don't want to spend more on the keys than you are on what the loot's actually dropping. So, yeah. Overall, though, what do you think of this change?
This change, I like it more. The only thing is, like, it's kind of weird, because I like them both options, like the first one and this one, for different reasons. Like, the first one, I would definitely, if I had it, I would definitely be more inclined to just dick around and kill some bots, you know?
True.
You're not killing one bot and then banking every time. You could sit there and literally kill 28 bots and go bank. But let's be real, regardless, you're gonna get these keys to kill people, like kill PVMers. The first option, you would kind of be more inclined to kill people in Edgeville, because now it's a permanent, don't have to loot anybody, don't have to be rushed, loot bots are dead. And the second, this new one is, you would be less inclined to get it, because let's say it costs 100k. Let's say the price settles and it's 20k per pop, per loot key scroll.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have to make sure you're getting, well, I guess regardless, you'd make money regardless on just the sharks you get from the loot key scrolls. But like, you would have to be rewarded for actually using it, right? So in the beginning, people would only use it to kill people at Callisto and shit like that, right? And people that are sculling in full Arams and Serp helm and shit like that, hoping you can kill them. It has to be, like, you're not gonna get it to lose money. Like, no one's gonna want to use it and lose money. So you're gonna have to keep that in mind. I don't know. I'm kind of iffy on just the whole. I've been iffy the whole time on the aspect of a loot key scroll.
It's a very controversial update, and from what I've been reading too, is like it was controversial the first time, and with this change, it's still controversial. But I've seen a lot of people who are like, "Man, I voted yes to the last key scroll idea, but this one I don't like it, so I'm probably gonna be voting no." So you're seeing a lot of people who are switching their opinions on it just from this change.
Yep.
Because the thing is like, originally, it gave the Revenants, a one unique drop that was probably going to be worth a fair penny. Yeah, you'd probably get that and make some money off it. But now you've got like, it's almost like another. It's similar to like your notables now, where this is an item that you're going to be farming more often. You're going to want to collect more of them and sell for more of a consistent sell. So it's not going to be a big ticket item. It's more going to be like, oh, look, I got some Brunite ore from a drop. It'll be similar to that, but for Revenants.
Yeah. Yeah. I think with the first option, it was 2 years from now when it's at its lower point, right? Not on day one. We're talking like 2 years from now, you would generally see everybody using the loot key scroll for like everyone who has it would use it for a lot of different things, right? The first option, you could use it in Edgeville and it would be really nice. You could kill some bots, it'd be really nice. You could kill some PVMers and skillers, it'd be really nice. But with this option, I feel regardless, it is just to kill PVMers. Because you want to make the most out of it, right?
Yeah.
Like if you're a pure in Edgeville and you have 50 of them, every 5 kills, you have to like get a new one. You have to like keep on. It's a consistent thing you have to do, and if you forget, you're like, oh god damn it. Like this is like, it's a hassle for purists to use it, I feel. And it's not worth it to kill bots, and so this seems like it's geared towards just killing people who might have a lot of black chins on them, or who have like a couple kills on Callisto during that trip. Mm-hmm. So I do think this one's definitely not going to come as close as the other one would. But I don't know. I have my opinions. I've already stated.
Yeah, we have talked about this before, but it's a hard one. Like,
yeah,
I sit there and I go like, on paper it looks like a great idea. Like, cool, awesome. I totally see this, but then like, it's a very weird item because it's going to bring some issues in itself.
Yeah,
and it's going to like open a can of worms. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is Jagex willing to deal with that? It seems like they are. It seems like they want to, but like
even like little things like do you think they know how many sharks despawn a day because people don't pick them up in the wilderness?
It seems like they have numbers for everything, so I'm sure they would, but I see what you're saying, yeah.
They have to keep that in effect that like a lot of those sharks would still be in the game, which makes sharks drop even more in price. Yeah, that's like a little thing to talk about, but there's like with something like this, it's so general. It changes like such a big aspect in the game that Bird's Nest prices would probably go up. People are going to be less inclined to do Callisto because there's going to be more people that want to kill them. Black Chins Black Chins are a shitty example actually, but everything in the skilling resource area, not the best example, but it's still a decent one. Like, it would change, like, a lot of random items. Like, a lot of things we wouldn't expect would change in price. I don't know, though. It's really weird. I bet you if I only PvP'd, I'd probably be like, yeah, give me that shit. But since I don't, I just kind of, maybe I'm biased is what I'm trying to say, in my opinion, for this update.
It changes so much within PKing that it's just like...
It's scary, yeah. It's really rocking the boat.
Yeah, as much as I'm like... I would love for this to be the new meta. It sounds like a really good idea. Cool. I would love to be able to PK, you know. I go my pier sometimes and I'm killing bots doing air orbs. I have my looting bag, but as soon as you fill that thing up, I got to go bank. I'd love to be able to just kill a bunch of these guys and non-stop and don't have to worry about banking or not. But then at the same time, I'm like, it's a big change and it would bring its new problems and like,
yeah,
I'm sure the game would adapt and stuff like that, but it's just, I don't know. It's something that you don't know how it'll affect the game until it's brought in.
Yep.
And like nobody really does. But like, yeah, I look at it. It's a great. It's controversial. It's controversial for even me. Like I see a lot of pros and cons. I sit there and I go like,
it's too game changing to be put in a yes or no. That's the big issue.
Yeah.
Regardless of how they do it, even if it's like a one-time use, even if you only get one key out of it, if you get 5 a bazillion, like it's too much to just say yes or no, so I don't know. I think just the polling approach kind of just is detrimental to it.
And I try to be super subjective. Like, I'm not trying to think of it like, oh, would I benefit from it? Would I get killed more often in the wilderness? I try not to think of these updates like that. I try to think of, like, in the general of RuneScape, how will it affect everything? You know what I mean? Because, of course, I look at this and I'm like, yeah, I'd love to be able to get kills and get like keys that I'll be able to get sharks and stuff like that. And if I get killed in the wilderness doing a clue, do I care if I'm going to be dropping a key? Not really, because I lose the items regardless.
Yeah, a big thing though is that you kill a clue scroller hoping that he opened up his cask and has a bunch of shit on him. Now you would kill him for whatever he has on him. It's not a big deal. It's just taking up one shark. Yeah, I think the big thing is though, it's kind of weird that they call it wilderness rejuvenation, but it's more of like Revenant Caves. It's not like the clue, the loot key. I feel like it's not gonna rejuvenate the wilderness. It'll make Revenant Caves more valuable to bot, and PKers will benefit from that. That's good though, because they obviously need more content to do. They're very limited compared to PVMers, but less people will go to Callisto, which means that PK spot will not be as popular. Same with Venenatus, the Resource Arena, like all the big PK spots where you're killing PVMers are people are going to be way less inclined to do it because like they're getting fucked over for it. That's like the big issue, right?
Yeah, but then although when you do kill Callisto, you know, let's say you get the Bird's Nest or whatever, they're going to be worth more than they are now. So you have people being like, don't want to risk it, so I'll be getting more of a payout.
Most of the Bird's Nests come from the mole.
Well, okay, that was just an example, though. Like, you know what I mean?
But I know what you mean. Yeah, I feel like I feel like it just like, see, here's the thing. It deters me from going to the wilderness, which probably deters a lot of people too, right?
Yeah, but then there's me I'll play devil's advocate, but also myself. I go like, well, Callisto's going to be worth more. I get killed there all the time anyway, so at least now when I get a kill, it might be worth, 20, 30k more. I don't know. I'm just guessing, right?
It's still, I don't know. It's really tricky. I don't know. I don't even know what I would say about that. I don't know how I'd vote. But here, let's move on because we have some more we got to talk about. So the PvP armors, they mentioned how they're like iconic to the Revenant Caves on release and on RS3, and it brought a large amount of variety to the wilderness. So they want to repull the armors, and although many players that used these before knew how effective they were concerned over their strength. So they want to make it clear that we intentionally kept the stats the same as they were when they first introduced, as we know what impact they had. We also didn't want to shy away from the fact that we offered these as they were before, which is why we didn't change the armor names from their originals. So they're just saying that like this is literally cut and paste from RS3, and it's purposeful.
Yeah.
It's very purposeful, or yeah, purposely done, I guess would be better. But yeah, so they want to offer armors as a more exclusive PvP item, and they don't want to change any of the stats. Instead, they'd like to propose them as having no offensive bonuses when not attacking a player, which reduces PVM activity and crashing in PVM. You only get defensive bonuses from the gear. So if you choose to use these in PVM, like the Vesta would be good against when you're tanking bandos, but you're not going to use it to crash people at bandos. So it does make it a lot better.
That was a worry from before with the first propose.
Yeah, the items will still degrade as usual, and many players were concerned about people switching the PvP armors for a single tick to simply spec or tank. And they coded the armors in a way to stop the players from being able to extend the duration of their armors. The absolute maximum amount of time the armor will last is 60 minutes. So previously the armors would degrade by 1 minute each time the armor was swapped out. Mm-hmm. So if you wore it for 1 tick or 1 minute, regardless, you get it counts down for 1 minute. Yep. And this wasn't great for anyone that was intending to use PvP armors to hybrid or swap out to gain defensive boost. But we've changed the way holy shit, I can't say it. It's the way the armor degrades. God damn it. It operates in line with each game cycle, so simply put, the armor will now degrade every 0.6 seconds while in combat. They literally just said they're worried about people rushing, but I feel like the way they change it is so you can rush. Yeah.
That is an issue, and I've also seen other people worried about that. Although I feel like if these armors are brought in, you should not be limiting them to, like, people who are tri-breeding shouldn't be hurt for this. If anything, I would want these armors to be more for tri-breeding. They should be the most effective there, I think. So I'm glad that they did this switch to degrading so that, like, tri-breeders aren't going to be hurt with it.
I think the way so it works, so every 0.6 seconds, it works while in combat, regardless of gear swaps. So if you have it in your inventory while you're in combat, it'll still degrade. I believe that's what they're saying. But instead of it being for 1 minute, it'll be for 0.6 seconds.
I don't think it'll degrade in your inventory, because it even says previously it was when you switched it to wear it, they made it so it degraded by 1 minute, but then people wouldn't want to swap it. So now it's whenever you wear it, it's going to degrade by every game tick, it'll degrade.
But it says regardless of gear swaps, though.
Because, okay, so originally, before this, they had it so that, like, if you were wearing full, let's just say, bandos, and then you swap to the Vestas, it would instantly take off 1 minute. So it would make people, like, not want to equip it, because you would benefit from equipping it once and then wearing it the full time. Yeah. But then people are saying this is bullshit for tri-breeders, because they're not going to want to swap between the 3 different ones, because every time they swap to the mage or the range, it's going to take 1 minute off of it, and you'll, like, lose it after one fight. So now they made it for the ticks. So even if you wear it, it's just going to take it down by 1 tick.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I didn't know it just instantly went down, like, as a minute when you put it up. That makes a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is a bit better. We'll move on. So people are wondering why the armor is, like, degradable. And they've considered it, but they say it just won't really work with the armors. And the one thing that kept the PvP armor so exclusive was the fact that once it was equipped, it was tied to that player forever, or until it went away, like, degraded to 0. And it kept them rare, and it kept them valuable. And yeah, with the addition of the gold sync, they believe that they'll have a great balance. That's pretty much it. That's why they're keeping it as a degradable item. It makes sense.
degrading wise, I feel like this is probably the best way for it to degrade.
Yeah. Made it a bit better in PvP, and they kind of ruined it for PvM.
Yeah. 'Cause that was part of the worry some people had. But yeah, anyways.
Yeah, well, we'll move on though. So the Revenant gloves / the Van braces. So they don't want to repull the repurposed range glove Van brace, like the new best in slot range gloves. Even though they were like at a higher pass percentage in the PvP armors, it was clear that there was some pretty glaring issues with how you receive them.
Yeah.
And they don't fit into the theme of the wilderness, and they're not going to repull them at this time, but they will find a way to implement them into the game. Probably a boss drop. I hope it's a boss drop. Or a quest. I would like it to be
quest makes
directly linked to the barrel gloves, personally, but
yeah.
Anyways, we'll see in the future. And then, the next item is the Sinister Scroll. So when used on an Amulet of Glory, the Sinister Scroll will create the Sinister Amulet, a brand new tradable necklace. Provides the same stats as a Glory with the added ability of increasing the effectiveness of Smite Prayer. Instead of lowering your opponent's prayer by 1/4 of the damage dealt, it would drain by 1/3 of the damage dealt.
Damn.
Like that is really strong. And it does kind of solve my previous issue when I mentioned with the other necklace. What happens to Glories? Well, turn them into Sinister necklaces or amulets.
True. Okay. Yeah, another one.
It does make Void Rangers much more strong, and same with Zerkers and stuff like that. Because the big thing with those types of PvP builds is that you smite fight.
Mm-hmm.
And you're only having 52 prayers, so people are gonna get smited a lot. You could easily smite people with this, because like you don't drink to 52 prayer. You would drink when you're at like 30-ish to be safe. That's what I would always do.
Exactly.
To be safe, just in case you get hit with some bullshit combo when you're tanking and you forget to drink.
Mm-hmm.
But now, with this, you could smite people fucking all the time with this. The item would be untradeable once you use it. And like, after 100 hits, it turns to dust. So it's a glory sink.
Okay, yeah, I like that.
They actually pulled this 3 years ago with the release of Bounty Hunter, and it was off by 3%.
Okay, yeah, I got 72.
Yeah, they recently brought this back in, like this idea again. I do like how it is a glory sink. I like that a lot. It does make glories like still used a lot in PvP. Here's the thing: if you combo someone out from like full HP, you would smite them.
Yeah, it's interesting. I look at it. I like the way it crumbles after 100 hits. But I do think the 1/3 smite is a pretty big deal. But then again, that could be my past talking, because I got smited out and rushed like 3 times for 3 whips. So that could be partially it. But you have a little bias there, I think. So yeah, it's hard for me to give an opinion on this one. I don't see inherently too many problems besides the smite.
So the big thing is, if you're a max AGS pure, you're going to be really high combat. You're going to be fighting a lot of Zerkers and a lot of Void Rangers. And AGS pures are fucking pretty busted, from my understanding, from what I've heard people complain about. Like they're quite a bitch to like fight against, because it's a really strong build, right? Nothing wrong with that. And a lot of AGS pures sit at like 31 prayer.
Yeah.
Which is a lot less than 52. A lot less than 52. And the more prayer you get, at certain thresholds, you get more out of your prayer potion.
Mm-hmm.
But, regardless, like, that does kind of nerf them really hard, in the sense that if you're not on top of your prayer game, like, you're gonna get smited easily. Very, very easily. And I mean, you can drink a prayer potion and you won't lose a tick when you're fighting. Like, it doesn't delay your attack speed or anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's pretty important. So you are free to drink a lot of prayer potions, and you're not going to be hurt. You just have to move your mouse a bit more.
Okay.
I kind of like this, just in the sense of it brings like a lot of variety, and it does make 3-itemers or 4-itemers, whatever, like I was bitching before, people that purposely don't skull, it does make those builds a little bit more risky, because you kind of rely on protect item. Same thing with like Staff of the Undead and AGS Pures. Like, it makes Edgeville more risky, which I do like because and the PvP worlds, because a lot of times you're killing like a low level Pure or something, you're getting like 80k from them.
Yeah.
But now it's like you have a better chance to actually smite and get good shit, and if you're not that good, you're risking more because you can get smited a lot more easily.
Yeah, fair enough.
I don't know. I actually kind of like this. It does bring like a really good use to the Revenant Caves. Like an item like this. Something that can be easily used once you get it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, seems pretty decent.
But yeah, we'll move on. So, Ancient Crystals. Ancient Crystals are a new tradable item. It's a resource drop from the Revenants, and you can use 4 Ancient Crystals and 4 Marble Blocks to build your own Wilderness Obelisk in their house.
Cool.
Creating a Wilderness Obelisk would require 80 construction and offer a one-way teleport to any of the 6 Wilderness Obelisks. Completion of the Wilderness Diaries would allow you to choose which one you teleport to. And it would be placed in the Superior Garden Room, and it would take up the same spot as the Spirit Tree and Fairy Ring. Completing the obelisk will grant players experience similar to the furniture of the same level. Not a new training method.
Yeah, I like that.
This?
That's a pretty cool idea.
I think this is actually super awesome. I think this is like a great idea.
I do kind of hope that, like, they want to place in the middle of Superior Garden, which is, you already have your Fairy Ring there and your Spirit Tree. Are you going to be able to stack all 3 of them now with this? Or are you going to have to pick and choose? I don't know.
You have to choose, but the big thing is play around housing. The only thing I guess it's a big benefit, but you get to restore your spec and shit. If you exclusively PK, you don't really have a use for Fairy Ring or the Spirit Tree. If you exclusively PK, and why not have this? I think this is really cool, and I do like with the Wilderness Elites. You can choose which one you teleport to. It works the exact same as the obelisks in the wilderness. So if you don't have the elite, then you're kind of just rolling the dice and hope it works out.
Yeah.
And even if you like doing bosses in the wilderness, those are options. You can have this obelisk and you can teleport close to like KBD or whatever. Scorpia, I think, is a kind of decently close to one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's really cool though.
I like it too. I just hope that you can stack all 3 of them, or I could always just build another Superior Garden. But I've seen a lot of people being like, I don't want this to necessarily replace it in the Superior Garden, or maybe introduce a new type of room, like a PvP sort of room. But yeah, I don't know. I do like this update. Cool. I'm happy to see it.
Yeah.
So
So it says it would take up the same spot, the same hotspot as the Fairy Ring and Spirit Tree.
Yeah, but you can stack the Fairy Ring and the Spirit Tree. You can have them both in the same hotspot.
Okay.
So it doesn't say whether or not you'll have to choose if this is going to replace the 2, or if you could stack all 3 of them after. So we'll have to see.
I mean, if you don't have to, if you can stack all 3, I'd like that even more. I think that'd be kind of cool. I like that. Maybe it's a little bit too busted. Who knows though? It's such like a random teleporting method that like it's only good if you have your Wilderness Elites done.
Sort of. Sometimes I'm hopping around if I want to get closer to the Chaos Elemental or whatever it is.
Yeah, but if you know what I mean though, like if you can choose, it obviously makes it much better. But
yeah,
I don't know. It's cool. I like this. Yeah, we'll move on though. It's kind of cool. Minus Experience Lamp, which was suggested by a Redditor. I don't have his name, but he made this suggestion. And so the Minus Experience Lamp is for people who have 2 defense pretty much. If you mess up and you gain experience, if you're a skiller, if you're a pure, whatever, this allows player to reduce a small amount of experience in a skill of their choice. And with account-bound limitations to prevent abuse, they offer a new option for anyone wanting to revive a failed pure or skiller. Yeah. So the lamp would come from the Revenant Caves, and it would allow you to remove 50 experience from any combat skill of their choosing, which is really important, I guess. I don't know why you'd want to reduce your runecrafting experience, but you can only use it 10 times per account, and so you can only cap out at 500 experience. You would only be able to use the lamp on a combat skill that is level 50 or below. And the lamp would be tradable and activated, and the activating would have a cost of 5 mil.
Damn.
So if you want to take out 500 experience from an account, it's going to cost 50 mil.
Mm-hmm.
Level 50 or below, though, that's so weird.
I think it just you start getting in problems when you have it above 50. Even though, like, yeah, you'll start having experience brackets where you'll need, like, 5K. But, you know, I saw this item and it seems very out of left field. Like, very random item to bring in here. I was looking up some of the issues, and people were saying one issue that comes to light right away is this will allow you to do Soul's Bane, and you can revert all the experience gain from it, which allows you to complete the Varrock medium diaries, and then you'll start seeing peers who are able to use the Varrock chest plate while they PK, which gives you, I guess, superior defense stats and whatnot to the other alternatives. So that's one that came up. It seems kind of minor, and yeah, you'll be having to drop quite a bit of money on it, but that's what people were talking about. And one of my issues with this is that there might be some things that they don't notice, that they overlook, that could really change the way peers work. And sure, it's a lot of money. In all honesty, though, people who are making a peer are usually dropping lots of money on it, either from a main or they're using their real life money to buy bonds to kind of fund their peer. And I know that's a pretty popular thing to do, which, you know, I don't care one way or another, but like, I'd be interested to see what other kind of not issues, but other things you could do with this besides just reverting your peer down to 1 defense.
So
I'd be interested to see if people could now do other quests or unlock other gear and then drop their defense down to whatever they want it to be.
I'm not too sure. I haven't done the numbers, but you might be able to do every single quest that gives you defense experience on a Zerker. Because usually you'd have one left over. And I want to say it gives you just a little bit over 45 defense if you do every single defense quest on a Zerker.
Okay.
And I mean, you're wasting a potentially 50 mil. Well, you waste a lot to bring it back down to 45. But, from 46, but I'm not too sure. Maybe it wouldn't affect it. Maybe you're 500 or 600 experience over. But, it would really break up the metagame. And not metagame, sorry. It would give you some neat options. Like, that would kind of be cool to see, like, obby maulers with a better chest plate or peers with a better chest plate, or piece. Yeah. With obby maulers, though, you might be able to reduce a combat level or 2 and have the Mountain Daughter helmet. Because I think it's Mountain Daughter that gives you the bear helmet, and that gives you enough experience from 1 to 17 attack, completing that quest. And so some obby maulers do opt in to do it. But I think there's that quest and another quest too that you can do. And the reverting of experience might be able to give them an even better advantage because they're already still a strong account. I don't know the specifics of experience and if it's actually worth it and blah, 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 blah. But the plus side is all those failed pure accounts.
Yeah. It seems pretty good. And it's a giant money sink, a big gold sinking game.
Huge money sink. Like potentially 50 mil from somebody who wants to make a janky PKing account.
Mm-hmm.
That's so much money getting taken out of the game. So many pures that just have 90 defense experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The one thing I'll just say, if I want to nitpick, this item seems very random, borderline private servery.
Yep.
It just really makes me feel they're desperate to put items into the Revenant Cave. And, I'm not saying that peers who accidentally click on their defense level should be ruined forever. But, I don't know. It just, I saw this and I was like, it doesn't really affect me one way or another. It's such a small thing to bring in the game, but it just seems like such a bizarre item to have in the game.
It kind of, for a game that's all about sitting there clicking things for hours, getting experience, it is weird that there's a way to take away experience. I know it's minor. It does kind of, I know what you mean though. It does feel really weird.
I see it and I'm like,
private servery.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm not saying, oh, you accidentally got 2 defense in your pure, you deserve that, even though it's such a small little thing, but I look at this and I'm like, is this the way of doing it? to me, it just seems like whoever's proposing these ideas is not lazy, but they're just whatever ideas they can find or even think of off the top of their head, they're just throwing it at the board and hoping it'll stick.
Okay, how about this? How about you have to go to a statue at the very end of the fucking wilderness, and you have to give them money, the same amount, 5 mil per 50.
I mean, even that, I would look at that, I'm like, makes a little bit more sense. You know what I mean? Like,
It's just kind of going against the whole, like, PVMers doing shit in the wilderness.
Oh, yeah, I
Maybe
get
P
you.
cares have to bring a bunch of money and fucking risk their shit. No, but I know what you mean, though.
so that's just me kind of nitpicking, like I said, because this item won't affect me one way or another. It's not really going to negatively affect anyone, except for people who are like, no, I want you to have a ruined pure account. But I just see it and I'm like, is this the way of doing it? You know, is this just seems a little lazy in my opinion, but whatever. Anyways, so yeah, when I saw this and I was like looking at it, I was like, made me think that yeah, they're very desperate to get some items in the PvP update, the rejuvenation, which understandably, but then I started thinking like, how much thought is being put into some of these things? I'm sure a lot is being thought into it, but then there's things like the PvP armor, which is literally cut and pasted from something that I guess arguably worked in the past, kind of worked in the past in some sense. But then, then the thing like the XP lamps, that was a suggestion that when I saw the suggestion on the subreddit, I was like, kind of a meme. I thought it was kind of a joke post. So then I was at work and I was just kind of thinking, I'm like, if I spent some time thinking of some items for the wilderness, could I come up with anything that would be inherently bad or good for the game? I don't know. So yeah, I was just working and I decided, okay, I'm going to spend like maybe I'm just going to think to myself while I work and see if I can come up with any ideas and whatnot. And I spent maybe not even that much, 20 minutes. I'm not saying these are good items, but yeah, I was thinking, what in the equipment slot, what is one of the most underused equipment pieces? If I had to ask you, what would you say?
Do you mean in like variety and shit like that?
Yeah, like there's really not much to choose from.
I would
Generally.
probably say ring or ammo slot.
Yeah, that's what I came up with the ring. Most people are bringing the Ring of Recoil, right?
Yep.
Almost everyone. So I was thinking like, I'm surprised, like, yeah, we have a bunch of rings, but they're kind of expensive and no one's going to be bringing them into the wilderness. So I was thinking like, could I come up with any ideas of like new rings we could bring into the game? Maybe some PvP style rings? And yeah, these are just some concepts I thought of. I didn't do any number crunching. I didn't be like, these are the stats it'll have and these are the exact numbers. But yeah, no, I was just thinking. One of the items, I thought like maybe this item could work similar to how the Ring of Recoil works. But instead of doing damage back, you could kind of heal yourself a bit. But like very minimal numbers. Like with a Ring of Recoil, you're hitting a 1, 2, or a 3. And that's if they're getting hit hard. I don't even know the numbers of what you're hitting back, but it's really not much. You won't really see it going over 2 for the most part that often. But like, what if you had a ring that you could heal yourself just like 5% of the damage hit and it always rounded down? So like the person would have to hit you above 10 damage or something for yourself to heal 1. I don't know. What do you think of that concept of an item?
It could work. It might be a little broken in PVM.
Well, no, this would only be PvP. A lot of these items that they've listed would only work in PvP. So I'm thinking these items would be strictly PvP items.
Is this the damage you hit?
The damage you got hit for.
Oh, you get hit for.
Yeah, similar to the Ring of Recoil, but instead of recoiling damage, you kind of just healed yourself a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. It could work. I don't know though. Yeah, I'm not too sure. It could work, but there's some issues. But
my only issue that I was just thinking, like, what about this item? Would this fit? My only problem is like it might be useless. Like the only reason I'm saying like that's such a low number is because you don't want something that's going to be healing a shit ton.
And you definitely don't want something to be activated off of a Ring of Recoil.
Yeah, obviously. So that's why when it's like a 5%, the person would have to hit you like 10 or something for it to even heal you 1. And in which case, it's not really healing you, it's more of reducing their damage by a 1 or 2. Yeah. So that was one idea. And then I kind of thought of something similar, but with prayer. You know what I mean? Although, this gets a tough one because, yeah, maybe something similar where they'd have to hit you above a 10 in order for it to activate and you would get 1 prayer back. or maybe even higher, because you don't want to be getting too, like, you don't want your prayer to be effectively just going up instead of losing it when you're praying, right?
Yeah.
But maybe something that just made it so you lost less prayer because the guy was hitting you hard. It could be like an anti-smite weapon, almost.
Yeah, give you some good counterplay against smite.
Yeah, it wouldn't you wouldn't be able to gain prayer against their smite. You'd still always be losing it.
You could just give it like a high drain rate or something.
Yeah, you would just have it so that you didn't lose as much prayer when you're getting smited.
Yeah. I do like the prayer pray, though. That'd be pretty neat. Or like even have it reduce the effect of smite by blank.
Yeah, something like that.
Like...
Even though that's you'd have to like hope the guy's smiting against you.
Well, regardless, generally if you die, it's because you lose your prayer. It's because you got smited. And it would be like a little bit of handholdy if it was just in general, but maybe if it was like a literal direct counter to smite.
Yeah, fair enough.
That maybe it was an overhead too.
Yeah.
Because then you couldn't use that and have smite and have like all your... It would... I don't know. You could definitely play with the idea though. It could definitely work. Yeah,
these are just like concepts I thought of that like...
Yep.
And I was thinking of the slot because like, yeah, we don't really see much besides the Ring of Recoil. Yep. Maybe the Ring of Life, but that's not being used by PKers for the most part. And this way it would also bring items that like a PVMer could use against PKers.
Yeah.
Which would kind of
be huge, yeah. I didn't even think about that, yeah.
It would cause it so PVMers aren't so scared to come into the wilderness. They kind of have things to bring instead of just bringing a Ring of Life, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
And then this one is probably way out of left field, but it was just an item I was thinking of. An item that allowed you to protect one extra item on death, but you either A, drain your prayer like 3 times as fast, or whatever, or B, this gets tricky, or B, when you get smited against, it makes it so that they're hitting, they're doing more smite damage against you. That one I'm not too fan of as I say it.
I mean, you could always make it so no matter what, you protect 2 items. In terms of if you have the prayer, like even if you're unscald, you protect 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it'd come at a cost. But yeah, that one's a little tricky.
Yeah, I don't know if I like that one too much. Okay, this one literally just came up with it right now. What if it works like a Ring of Recoil, but it does 100% damage recoiling back, but only for when you get poisoned?
That'd be really busted.
Think so?
Oh, yeah.
So you're poisoned and you take poison damage, but then you shoot the poison damage towards that guy as well?
Oh, it's for poison only.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was like if you get poisoned, you reflect all the damage back to the person.
Oh.
I was like, that's busted. I kind of like that. As long as it's only usable, in PvP.
Yeah, exactly. Because this would cause people who, are protecting themselves from being poisoned, they would open themselves like, okay, maybe I will get poisoned because I'll be taking damage, but be sending damage back. Right?
Yeah, the only thing is that it makes the Granite Maul even more viable to use.
Like if you were to stack?
Because you wouldn't want to poison someone or use you know what I mean? You wouldn't want to use a DDS or a Tentacle.
The only reason I think it would be alright is because the person who's poisoned is taking damage as well. So if you're wanting to use this, you're going to be having to... Sure, you could stack bigger hits together, but overall, the Ring of Recoil will still be putting towards more damage, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think it could work. It gives you some neat little options, but it only, like... I don't even know, DDSs aren't really too common. I mean, they are, but like compared to like AGS Gmods and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you have the money and stuff, but like...
But that being said, I'm still kind of for it. Like, I could think it could work.
Just an interesting idea I thought of. And this is the last one I actually did think of. I just kind of thought of like 3 different ones, but again, just concepts. What about a ring that would reduce magic spells that were like, when you get snared or ice barrage, and it would reduce the time in half for how long you were actually stuck in place?
If you could stack it with protection, mage protection, that would be really busted. Because it would make a barrage last like 7.5 seconds.
True. Okay, well, maybe it wouldn't stack with it or something like that. I'm not too sure actually, but I forgot that prayer did that.
Yeah. I don't know. The only thing, like, it would be kind of neat to have, like, variations of ring recoils and stuff like that, but it's kind of hard to, like, think of all the repercussions. Like, I don't know. The only thing I thought of was something like, you know, the redemption spell?
Yeah.
Call it, like, Ring of Redemption or something, and if you get hit under percentage HP, you deal blank damage back or blank damage to them.
Interesting.
I don't know the specific numbers. Like, I don't know. There's like a lot of cool little things you could do.
Because I thought it was weird that like the Ring of Recoil is most people's go-to, and it's basically the first ring on like the tier list. Yeah, it's the Sapphire Ring, and there's nothing else that people are really going to use. But you can play with the idea of what Ring of Recoils do, and then put them on with other items because it's a decent idea. And things were like. Especially with, like, let's say you regained 1 prayer point for every, like, damage over 10 or something.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be taking damage for that to happen. So it's not like you're like, oh, fuck yeah, please hit me. Please hit me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it just starts bringing in other ideas. And also, like, people are always complaining that, like, you know, the PVMers, why do you want to bring us more into the wilderness? And then PvPers want items to help kill them, but what if you had an item that kind of worked both ways and it would help the PVMers a bit? Mm-hmm. I'm not saying you want PVMers to get away, but they talk about situations or things to do in the wilderness that will bring PVMers out there. But what if you brought an item that a PVMer could potentially help? You know what I mean? It wouldn't be game breaking necessarily, but if they were able to tank a bit more damage without dying, they might.
I do like it though, like the healing stuff. Like you do make a good point of like you won't rejuvenate the wilderness by forcing or like pulling people to do it that don't like to the wilderness that don't want to do it because like it's not good for the longevity of the game. You gotta make it like right now. It is way too easy to kill a PVMer unless they're bringing a Din's Bulwark, they're bringing Carol's top legs, they're bringing a Serb helm. You know what I mean? Like they're like not everyone has that money. What if you're like a level like 80 or 90 and you want to go kill KBD and you don't have fucking like, you know, you're not going to bring that shit to run to KBD. Like, yeah, like I do like an aspect of giving PVMers more of a fair chance because generally you're killing someone at a boss. They have no food. You know what I mean? They have no weapon and armor to fight back. Like, yeah, I don't know. I do agree with that though.
But also bringing in items where it could be used by PKers as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like a middle of the road item.
Yeah, it would be really good for like triberids, even your Annoyed of Granite Maul Pures and shit like that, or Obby Maulers. Like that would be so good against them, but not game breaking, right?
Yeah, something that would just
it gives you
a
better chance, and they could use it too if they want. I don't know. Yeah, I like it.
That's just an idea. But with that being said,
let's go hand our applications in the Jagex.
Yeah, we can move on.
Yeah, let's move on. We got one more to go through. Fossil Island improvements.
Oh,
nice little dev blog. Oh wait, no, this is a change log. We don't have to talk about this actually.
Okay. Oh yeah. So I was going to say we talked about this last week. If they have a whole nother polling questions, like they just
yeah. Like I thought that was weird. I was going through when I was like looking at all the updates, and I was like, literally like, man, am I crazy? Because like they when they update a blog, they don't keep the first revision. They you know what I mean? So like I started scrolling through November and October and I'm like, they don't, I swear to God, I thought we talked about this. And then, but because they changed it, they just bump it at the top. So they,
gotcha.
They like birdhouses will now hold 10 birds and the higher tiers give better chances of giving nests and seeds.
Cool.
This is like a dev blog of like, you know, poll suggestions and things that they're gonna like ask. These aren't like implemented into the game yet. They added a chapter on prayer training in the Miscalin pool. I think it's I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
The Mycelium pool. I don't know Mycelium. I don't know.
Yeah.
So
Marcellium.
the prayer activity was always intended to be a little bonus way to use additional bones rather than a training method, but they want to make it more appealing. So they intend to move the inconveniently random like calcite pyrophosphate ratio and just keep it to a 1-to-1.
Sure.
And they want to keep it fivefold, so like the experience fivefold, so you'd get 500, 1,000, 1,500, 2,500 for small, medium, large rare fossils. Wouldn't be viable, but it is better than throwing away your spare fossils or trading them in for Nunulites. Reducing like costs of the volcanic mine, and they're a little more detailed in the underwater training and stuff, but they just kind of added some little like quality of life suggestions to the already added suggestions. Nothing too major to talk about.
Fair enough.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the news, though.
Oh, wow, that's fast. We went through that pretty good. Well, at least the Fossil Island part. Shit.
Yep.
Okay, a few things I noticed. Not too much going on in the community, but there's a couple. First thing, there's now officially 100 people with 200 mil firemaking experience. So you guys can thank Wintertodt for that.
Decent.
A lot of people are saying, like, damn, yo, you guys, we gotta have a separate high scores for the people who have never killed Wintertodt, you know?
Yeah, for real.
So there, congratulations out there. That's quite a bit. And lastly there's been these issues with the getting DDoS that we've kind of been talking about over the past past handful of episodes, I guess. So it seems that someone discovered that there is an exploit through the client that you can kind of retrieve the IP address. Allegedly, because it's kind of rumored, and we all know that a while ago, I can't remember how long ago, but originally with the client, when you would log in, and you had that kind of, the menu that would pop up saying, hey, you got mail, and, start to jump into the game sort of deal.
This is the last IP address you logged in.
Yeah, exactly. It would show you where you last logged. Yeah, the IP address was there. So somebody brought this up on Twitter and posted it to Mod Ash saying this person got DDoSed and he doesn't use any of these sketchy things, and pretty sure it's from the client. And Mod Ash says, Mod Atlas will be stripping the data out. That's what he says. So a lot of people took this as, shit, we think you're right, and we're going to get someone to go through it and take it out. That being said, he eventually did delete his tweet, so there, that confirms it. No, Mod Sween replied that the reason Ash deleted his tweet was because people were taking it that the fact that he responded with Atlas is going to strip it out, that's his way of confirming it. And he was saying that it's not actually true that you can get the IP address from it, that you could see where the last IP address was, but it's not something that other people can retrieve from you. So they're basically saying, no, that's not true. It's still safe. But someone had mentioned that if this is true, that it's pretty bad, because exploits like this can kind of happen through the game client. And there's a game called Terra Online. Are you familiar with that game at all?
I've heard of it. Never played it, though.
Yeah, me neither. I've heard of the name. So a big problem happened over there where somebody or some people found an exploit in the client where they could access other people's computers. Okay, I'm very ignorant with this, so you might have to correct me while I'm explaining it or what I've read. People are kind of able to remotely execute code on your computer through the in-game client. And this would mean that people would literally be able to install malware and keyloggers and whatnot onto someone else's computer through the game client. I mean, is that? Do you know if that's a possibility? Because a lot of people are saying the Terra game client was vulnerable to injections. Again, I'm pretty ignorant with this sort of stuff.
I mean, I could see it totally being a possible thing.
Yeah, it definitely seemed like it was confirmed on the Terra subreddit. A lot of people are saying, guys, we recommend maybe not logging in for the next little bit until they fix this. And it seemed like it was a pretty bad problem.
It's a pretty major fuck up by the company.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's a huge fuck up. If you could remotely access someone's computer through a game, not saying, I don't think that's even with the game engine, RuneScape meme, but with the old school, I don't think you could like access someone's computer, but like with Terra specifically, like, fuck man, there goes your banking information, who knows, they could log on and do whatever they want, get all your info. But it does go to show that like there are big exploits possible just by downloading a game and playing it.
Yeah, people were saying like, for other people who are like, no, this could never happen in the game client, they're saying like worse things are possible through the game client in other games that have and are happening right now. Yeah. So still just a rumor on whether or not people can retrieve your can retrieve your IP address from the RuneScape client. Yeah, it hasn't been confirmed, nor has it been denied. Well, I mean, it kind of was denied, but sort of, I should say, because it wasn't. They didn't fully say no, this is not happening. Because they have somebody who's looking through the client itself.
Did you see the video Wiggled uploaded recently?
Yeah, I saw that when it had popped up a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so if no one had seen this, so Wiggled is like a popular PKer. He does tri breeding and stuff like that. He's really fun to watch. But there's a video with him and his friends, and there's this guy, I don't know what his name is, but he's known to DDoS people in like PvP worlds and kill them for their shit. And so Wiggled logged on, geared his guy out in max tri-bred gear, and then logged out and got his friend to log into his account, who doesn't use TeamSpeak, doesn't use third-party clients, is like the typical, like, there's no way this guy could get his info. And he logged onto the Wiggles account, walked out, and immediately got DDoSed.
Wow.
So, and he ended up living still. They made sure that Wiggles' account was still alive, but like, that kind of shows that dude found a way to, like, okay, even like, let's say it's me and you, right? Let's say they have all my info. Like, how the hell do they know that like, if they were to attack me, like, they would be DDoSing me, but I'm not even on my account and you're on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And if this guy, like, how did he know that somebody else, like, Wiggles logs out, another dude logs in immediately, like 30 seconds afterwards, not even, and gets DDoSed? Like, how does this dude coordinate that? How does he, it's this guy, it's his friend doing this. Like, how do you know that?
So this is where things get kind of confusing, and I don't know, it gets complicated, you can tell. Because with that example in itself, with Wiggled and his clans or his teams, they all do use TeamSpeak. And I was reading that somebody was able to figure out that, like, the TeamSpeak server they use is owned and hosted by another, I don't know if it's another clan or another player, but it makes it so it's super possible that somebody else is just able to pull their information off from that. So that, for that example right there.
So I thought they weren't even using TeamSpeak during that whole ordeal when they're doing the whole.
So here's a comment that was posted onto one of the videos of Wiggled saying, "Oh, I'm getting DDoSed." And this is one of the comments. It says, "If anyone on this subreddit has any doubt how fucking dumb Wiggled and his retards are, open command." sorry, I'm literally quoting the comments.
Okay.
It's not it's nothing personal.
Yeah, go on.
Open command or CMD and ping leg_ends.runeloader.com. Yes, that's the TeamSpeak they're using in this clip, and even after admitting they know it's owned and hosted by an FL member who could easily be eavesdropping and getting IPs without even connecting to the TeamSpeak.
Okay, so if they are using TeamSpeak, that alone kind of destroys the whole he doesn't use anything sketchy. Like, TeamSpeak is so fucking sketchy in terms of you can right-click anyone, get their IP. Like, I use TeamSpeak for years. I know it's super sketchy. You can log into someone's TeamSpeak. They have, like, a plugin built in saying you have to update TeamSpeak. Update TeamSpeak. And then when you click yes, because that does happen just in general when you load up TeamSpeak, it just downloads malware or a rat or something. Like, TeamSpeak does have a lot of, like, exploits and stuff. But especially if they're using someone else from another clan that you can open up command prompt and find, like, you can ping it and all that shit, like, that kind of, nullifies their argument. It's all hearsay, kind of, I think. I don't know. Maybe. We don't really know for sure exactly what went on.
Yeah, and there was mod balance, which is another Jagex mod. He says there's absolutely no way to discover somebody else's IP address using the client. The only discoverable IP address is your own that you can use, and the server's address. And there's never any peer-to-peer connection via the official game or server. And the only way to be exposed is by an official third-party client, chat software, or a website, which is harvesting IPs. So there's a few of them there, but the reason I just want to bring it up because it made me go down this little rabbit hole of that Terra Online thing, and then I saw the potential dangers of other what could actually be done to you through a web client. again, I'm an idiot with this shit. So I was like, what? Somebody can remote access my computer because I'm playing a video game? All the shit my grandparents said is true. You know what I mean? Every time I played RuneScape, they're like, you're putting viruses on the computer. I'm starting to notice that is kind of a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just some drama that I had noticed and thought I would bring it up here.
Riddle me this. Why aren't they using Discord?
That's a good question. I don't understand why Discord isn't more popular. I mean, it's hugely popular, but
regardless, TeamSpeak has its issues. Even if it's like the way I used it, me and like my group of friends, we don't do any of this. Like we're just good friends that chat. We all knew each other's IPs from TeamSpeak. Nothing obviously came bad of it because we're all good friends. But like we moved to Discord because we don't want to pay for TeamSpeak, and TeamSpeak is just not as good. Like,
can I ask you, what are the positives of having TeamSpeak over Discord?
The positives are people like, okay, so like I'll say TeamSpeak is nice because you can load it up and see people that are there and you can like chat to them and all that stuff. Discord's nice though, but like we have like our group of friends on Discord, and a friend of a friend of a friend will invite somebody into like the Discord, which is fine, but it does get weird looking at the list and you don't know anybody. That's happened before where like since like I made the Discord channel, I'll look at like, I'm like, does anybody know who this guy is? And people are like, dude, I have no idea who the fuck he is. And then I'll message him like, hey man, how's it going? And he's like, oh, sorry, do I know you? And it's like, we all know each other, but then there's that, that random guy at the party that knows nobody.
Yeah.
That happens all the time in Discord. And it's not like I'm some fucking tyrant that's like, you have to be my best friend to be in here. It's like, invite whoever, but like, just, I kind of want to know who they are somehow. I don't want to like look at this name and be like, who the fuck is this? Then have to message them. Sometimes it's like, it's a friend of a friend.
If your TeamSpeak server got leaked, is that no different than somebody else inviting some randoms?
But here's the thing, like, they will just leave. Like, you don't see them. I don't care that other people are on the Discord. It's that, like, every message I post, they see. You know what I mean? Like, they're just always there, which is just, it's weird. You know what I mean? It's like having a roommate who, like, always has his door open, and he's kind of always looking into your room. And you're like, that's fine. This is getting kind of fucking weird, dude. What are you doing? You know what I mean? I'm like in the nicest way possible. And like, that's my thing with like, it's kind of a weird thing to like bitch about, but like, I'm looking at my list on, Discord right now, and I count out of how many people are in here? 40 people. There's like at least 7. I have no idea who they are. And I guarantee you, I could ask everybody and it'll come through. We don't know who that is. And then you kind of have to kick them. And that's really awkward. TeamSpeak's nice because it's like, it's bare bones in the sense of open up TeamSpeak, connect to the server that you always connect to, and you say, hey guys, how's it going? And then you leave, or like they leave, and like that's it. You don't see them. Like, with Discord, you have to manage a bunch of servers. You see everyone who's joined the server unless they've left or they've been kicked. Like it's kind of, but overall Discord's a lot better. Like TeamSpeak is more like pure, I guess, in terms of like, if you like it for, you only want to talk to people in your clan. I've
used, Ventrilo and things like that. And
yeah, the one thing
I'm a huge fan of Discord.
The one thing I do love about TeamSpeak is that it's the easiest way to see if you're lagging or not. If you're online, you start lagging, you can just right click and open it up and see. Sometimes Discord does go down. I've had a lot of times where Discord just isn't working. Like certain channels, certain servers I'm in isn't working. We have to make a new one temporary to like me and my buddies to talk to. Yeah, I don't know. People have their preferences. Like I was kind of against Discord before I joined it, but it's Skype and TeamSpeak put together. Like I don't know why you like.
It's great. Different channels to chat. Even if you don't have a microphone, you can just type and shit nonstop and.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
But like the fact that one clan or one person's been DDoS and TeamSpeak has been the cause of it once should be, hey, I'm doing Deadman mode or I'm really into P. Like I'm gonna just fucking move to Discord, change my IP, which is pretty easy, delete TeamSpeak, and then like I swear to God, man, there's gonna be DDoSing allegations this Deadman mode, and it's like, you know what? Why don't you fucking wipe your laptop or something? Do a clean install, just you know what I mean? Just fucking, all you want is just the client. on
Yeah,
like
fair
a
enough.
fresh laptop or something, right? Or you don't want to do it to your PC because, all your porn
Yeah.
and stuff. But like,
No, of
I don't
course.
know, man. People have to start taking precautions. They're clearly not.
But yeah, that's basically it for the news. And with that being said, it's time to move it right along. This week, we're going to be talking about the god Zamorak. So last week, we talked about Cerdoman, and before that was Guthix. And this is basically the third of the three big gods, I guess you can call them. The big three.
The Thai boy one-eye trio.
Yeah, god form, exactly. You said it. Nice.
Nice, yeah. All right, let's go on.
He is known as the God of Chaos, the Scourge, Father of Invention, Lord of Chaos, the Dark Lord, and God of Dark Fire. You might recognize his symbol as basically being two horns put together. Or like like ram's horns.
Yeah.
Not rams. A bull's horns. Plural. Guthix has named him as being the personification of chaos when he was asked about it in one of the letters to the gods. He arrived during the Second Age, as did most of the gods. But when he arrived, he didn't arrive as a god, and arrived as a Majoret, however you pronounce that. And the Majoret are an ancient and powerful race. You might recognize them in the desert, and they come up in a couple quests. But there really aren't too many of them nowadays. They are a very old race, and can live for several millenniums, unless they are killed by external means. And because they can live so long, this gives them the chance to become very powerful in different magical arts. Most Majoret are experts in necromancy and in ways of manipulating the Shadow Realm. When the Majoret first arrived onto Gielinor, they came with the demigod Icthlarin, which is one of the desert gods. And we're going to be getting into the desert gods in the future, so I'm not going to go too much into it right now, but he is the demigod of death and the original leader of the Majoret.
Isn't there a quest? Yeah, like his little helper or something like that?
Yeah, you might yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll recognize him in Icthlarin's little helper quest. The Majoret were originally brought to Gielinor to aid the Menophites in a battle against the god Zeros. But sometime after the battle, most of them did abandon Icthlarin for unknown reasons, and they end up joining Zeros' side instead, and became one of the most influential races of the Zerosian Empire. So the reason I mentioned this is because originally, Zamorak, he was one of Zeros' top generals, but over time and eventually betrays Zeros and steals some of his power, which allows him to ascend to godhood. This event marks the end of the Second Age and also marks the beginning of the God Wars. And while doing this splits the Majoret race, causing them to pick between Zeros' side and Zamorak's. And the reason you don't see much Majoret anymore is because most of them were killed off in the God Wars. There's still a few, but a lot of them go in hiding, and you really won't see them in the world as you used to. So yeah, I mentioned Zamorak was also a fairly popular god as well. You might recognize some of his followers as Monks of Zamorak, which are spread around RuneScape, Chaos Dwarves, Chaos Druids, Dark Wizards, Necromancers, Black Knights, and a bunch of other notable figures such as Lord Iban, Haziel, and Lucian. There's a ton of them, but I'm not going to go through all of them. Yeah, and the Wizard's Tower we all know, which is west of Draenor Village. During the Fifth Age, it was built by followers of Cerdoman to help study magic, and the followers of Zamorak are rumored to have burnt it down and destroyed it because they were barred from joining the Wizard's Tower and studying with other Cerdoman mages. But this is only rumored, as it can't be confirmed. And I think that's where we're going to leave it here this week for the lore, for your old school RuneScape lore in a nutshell. Blast to the past. Lore in a minute. Next week we'll continue to go through the major gods, which shouldn't be mistaken for the elder gods, which are whole complete different beings in themselves. We're only talking about the younger gods here.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. And yeah, okay, so I think it's time we should bring this to a close, because, shit, we're getting into this little pattern of having these quite long episodes out.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I would love to hear what you guys think about these longer episodes. Yeah. If you guys do want to get in contact us for whatever reason, there's a number of ways of doing that. You can contact us on Twitter, which is @thewildernessrs. Facebook is facebook.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. Our in-game clan chat is wildcc. And we have a Discord as well, which we can get a link out to you there. Also, you can comment on this video if you're watching it on YouTube and let us know what you guys think about whatever it is. But as for Discord goes, I am kind of working on trying to get our own little custom link. I think that would be very cool. But there's some hurdles we have to get through in order to do that. But hopefully in the future, you guys will be able to join the Discord by just going to discord.gg/thewildernesspodcast or whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make things a lot easier. Yeah, I think we should bail out now.
Yeah, it's time to get together.
Yeah, let's do it up. All right, thanks guys for listening to this episode. Next week, tune in as usual.
Yep, have a good one.
Hopefully I'm not in a fucking other basement, but yeah, probably will be. Take care, guys.